GUM-FM, Aganya, Guam. The sound of Guam is Wave 105 FM.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. There are still a lot of questions about the 15-year-old suspect in yesterday's school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. CBS's Ian Lee reports on the investigation so far.
What they're doing is they're going through all of her personal effects, also looking at social media, talking to friends and family members, really to try to get an idea of what could cause this 15-year-old to shoot her school.
A teacher and student were killed. There's a guilty verdict in the San Francisco trial of tech consultant Nima Momeni in the stabbing death of Cash App founder Bob Lee. Lee's brother after the verdict.
We think he had the intent to murder. The jury felt like he did not have the intent of coming into that situation. But what matters today is that we had a guilty verdict that Nima Momeni is going away for a very long time.
In Long Island, New York, the accused Gilgo Beach serial killer has been charged with another murder. That's 7 women Rex Heuermann has been charged with killing. Suffolk County DA Rex Turney.
The lives of these women matter. And, we as investigators, we understand that. Obviously, no one understands it more than the family.
The killings date back to 2010. Luigi Mangione, the suspect in the killing of United Healthcare's CEO, has an extradition hearing tomorrow morning in Pennsylvania. Legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
There is some reporting that he may actually waive his rights and agree to be extradited because, frankly, I think we all know that extradition will occur. And instead, his focus would be on the substantive defense, not on trying to make it harder for the prosecution to move him from Pennsylvania to New York.
President-elect Trump's choice for Health Secretary RFK Jr. is back on Capitol Hill, meeting with more senators. Correspondent Nicole Killian is monitoring that.
A lot of these meetings are underway with senators. He met a short time ago with Senator Robert Marshall of Kansas, who happens to be a physician, and he has a slew of other meetings planned for this afternoon.
Ukraine says it killed the head of Russia's chemical weapons agency by rigging a scooter with explosives. Russia analyst Beth Noble.
Just a day before the assassination, Ukraine had accused this general of authorizing the use of ammunition containing banned chemical weapons on Ukrainian soldiers in an attempt to force them out of trenches where they had taken up fighting positions.
An Alabama woman has become the latest recipient of a gene-edited pig kidney. Dr. John LaPook.
Interesting thing here is what they did is they fiddled with the genes, so there were like 10 gene edits that made the pig kidney more compatible with humans.
CBS News.
The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
A new batch of movies is being preserved for posterity. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez has that.
This year's additions to the National Film Registry include 1982's Star Trek II and Beverly Hills Cop from '84.
Let's do a rap together. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo.
Also among the 25 movies selected by the Library of Congress, The Social Network, and Dirty Dancing.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre are included. Films are chosen for preservation based on historical, cultural, and aesthetic contributions. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Teen drug use has not rebounded from its drop during the early days of the pandemic. About 2/3 of 12th graders this year said they had not used alcohol, marijuana, cigarettes, or e-cigarettes in the previous 30 days. That's the largest number abstaining in years. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Subway is serving up a hot one for a limited time, the all-new Ghost Pepper Bread. Subway's spiciest bread ever turns up the heat on any 6-inch or foot-long. Put the fiery flavor to the test on 3 all-new sandwiches. Number 34, the Spicy Nacho Steak. Dares you to face the heat head-on with shaved steak, smothered in cheddar cheese sauce, jalapenos, and creamy sriracha sauce. Crank up the heat with number 24, the Fiery Meatball. Or set your taste buds ablaze with number 22, the Spicy Nacho Chicken. Then cool down with a double chocolate peppermint foot-long cookie. Here for the holidays only. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Looking for an exciting career? We have fantastic opportunities for you. Join our team and work at leading brands like Coca-Cola, Subway, Chili's Grill and Bar, Cinnabon, Glimpses of Guam, and Good to Go. Whether you're interested in customer service, management, or marketing, we have roles that fit your passion. Visit www.glimpsesofguam.com to explore career openings and start your journey with us today.
That'll get you thinking. Wave 105 FM.
Hafa Guam, good morning and welcome back. It's Mornings with Patty here on the Wave 105 FM. It is a hump day Wednesday, December 18th, and the show this morning is being brought to you by Chili's Grill and Bar, Pat's Tinting and Detailing. GTA, we start with you. Subway, eat fresh. Bank Pacific, where others place branches, we place roots. Good to Go, we deliver. Download the app or order online at goodtogowedeliver.com. Take Care Insurance Company, our island, your health plan. Your local headlines for you right now with Skylar Obispo from the Marianas Business Journal and the Guam Business Magazine. Good morning, Guam.
Half a day from the National Weather Service. Isa here with today's weather update for Tuesday, December 17th. Similar to the past few days, expect another day of breezy conditions and isolated showers becoming scattered tonight. For the second half of the week, however, anticipate the trades to shift east-southeast, bringing an increase of showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms as well. Due to elevated winds and swell, a small craft advisory, a high surf advisory along northern shores, and a high rip current risk along north and east-facing reefs remain in effect through Wednesday afternoon. Stay safe and please visit our website at weather.gov/GUM for updates on forecasts and advisories.
Buenas and Hafa Day. My name is Skylar Obispo. Here's the latest from the Marianas Business Journal. A 20-year-old has been arrested for driving while impaired on the night of December 15th. According to a magistrate's complaint issued by the Judiciary of Guam, officers from the Guam Police Department observed a Honda Accord driving on the wrong side of the road. When officers approached, they identified the operator as Chanel Francina Story, who officers described as having bloodshot eyes and smelling of an intoxicating beverage. When asked if she had been drinking, Story responded that she had smoked a large amount of weed. She agreed to take a field sobriety test, which resulted in a presumptive positive that she was under the influence of alcohol. Story was taken into custody and she became belligerent and refusing to get into the back of the officer's patrol vehicle. A breath test performed at the precinct revealed that she had a blood alcohol content of 0.185%. She was formally charged with driving while impaired, resisting arrest, and the underage consumption of alcohol. In more news, Starlux Airlines, in partnership with Lion Travel Group, announced that it would return to Guam after plans were derailed by Typhoon Mawar in May of 2023. The Starlux charter will arrive on January 30th on Guam, flying a 188-seat Airbus A321neo with a return flight to Taoyuan International Airport in Taiwan to depart on February 3rd. The airline originally planned a 5-day charter in April of 2023, and Lion Travel planned on opening an office at the Hyatt Regency Guam, but ceased flights after Typhoon Mawar. Reporting for the Marianas Business Journal, The Wave 105, and Power 98, I'm Skylar Obispo.
Happy holidays from McDonald's. This is Marcia Azuzu. Christmas brings family and friends together. It helps us appreciate the love in our lives we can often take for granted. May the true meaning of the holiday season fill your heart and home with many blessings. From our McDonald's family to yours, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned, and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question, and you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
Hafa Day. This is Melvin Wampat Borja. I'm the Executive Director from the Commission on Decolonization, and I'd like to invite you to join us every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to noon for Challenge the Status Quo, where we will explore conversations around decolonization, political self-determination, and Guam's political status on Wave 105.1 FM.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show host, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Stimulating conversation. Wave 105 FM.
Heck yeah.
Good morning, Pauly.
Good morning.
Hey.
I don't know if I'm in a Seinfeld sitcom.
That's what you're picking up. That's what you're picking up. That's that vibe.
A little bit.
That's
Or Jock Jams.
Jock Jams.
Remember Jock Jams?
Yo,
that was my jam as a kid.
Was it. Yeah.
As a kid, it was all about Jock Jams,
Yes.
Space Jam, all of that.
Oh, man. Great stuff. Great stuff.
All right.
Indeed.
It is Wednesday. I can't even keep track. Time is just flying by, yo.
Whoa, hump day, hump day,
Wednesday.
Hump day. You got that right. Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
671-922-1051. Welcome to it. Another Mornings with Patti. My name is Pauly Suba, filling in, rolling with dice. I was driving kind of slow getting here.
Okay.
Because at this point, I wish I had a sunroof or a moonroof.
Okay.
Or a convertible.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, because I want to look what's up in the sky, right? I'm like, are we also getting UFOs?
I think we're safe. I think we're safe.
Are we also worried about UFOs?
They might be in our water, though. We got a lot.
Yeah, right?
We got a lot of water. We got a lot of
Keep
water.
looking in the sky.
we might want to ask our fishermen.
Yeah,
Hey.
the extraterrestrials are actually in the ocean. Yeah,
That's what they
more and
said.
more of those stories keep coming out. The White House is coming out and saying, listen, calm down. Drones is just a hobby. Like, more and more people are just getting these drones.
Right. Okay. All right.
But it's funny because, like, especially over at the Tri-City, right?
All
Like
right.
New Jersey, New York.
For sure.
Philadelphia, I guess. Is that the third city? I don't know.
That's what they're saying. Something like that. Something
over
like
there
that.
in
Yeah.
the East Coast.
On that side.
They're just being really good citizens. You know? because we even get them too, right? Guam Homeland Security says, see something, say something.
Right, yes.
So they're seeing a whole lot of things up in the sky. And now it's almost like, if you see something, just chill.
This is so cool.
You're just, we're all just chill guys here. I'm just a chill guy. But it just seems like it's a constant, right?
I see.
Do we remember Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Okay, what happened?
Do we remember her, Congresswoman,
Yeah,
right? And
right,
so
right,
she's
right.
like,
Yeah.
saying all kinds of different things, not even really caring about Guam and whatnot, right? I
Okay.
forget what her jargon was, her rhetoric was, right? But she recently posted, I'm going to shoot them all out of the sky.
I can't sometimes, man.
Me and every red-blooded, loving American.
Okay. She didn't think that
I
through.
think she even cusses too, but is the social Facebook
Oh man.
regulated by it's freedom of speech, right? Be careful though. Be careful with your freedom of speech.
Trying to picture Marjorie Taylor Greene with a Gatling gun. That's a strong image, man. That is a strong image.
15
bro.
hours ago, Marjorie Taylor
Let's go.
Greene.
Let's see.
I'm going to tell you right now that if you try to tell us all to stay inside, stay home, shelter in place for our safety from the drones, there is no way in hell I will comply with that absolute. And then she says, the BS. but the grown word. The grown word.
The grown word. Okay.
Not doing it. No way. I'll shoot the drones down myself. Along freedom-loving American. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. I never really that kind of tone doesn't really work for me. I tend to do like the opposite of it all. But so the White House is saying, with the growing constellation of lawmakers demanding answers from the feds about these mysterious drone sightings over New Jersey, the White House is now blaming hobbyists, planes, and even the stars. Somebody's on the line?
I got Connor on Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Let's go. Hafa day, Connor.
Hey, good morning. This is Tim Connor. I'm driving into Mooney to visit my tennis friends every morning.
Nice.
And I listen to you guys religiously.
Okay.
And I'm picking up on this conversation about the comment Marjorie Taylor Greene made here recently.
Recently, yeah. Just recently. 15
And I
hours
just
ago.
want to add to that, my personal opinion on that is she's a red-blooded hillbilly, okay? She's straight up from the country in the United States. That's where she was raised. And so they normally tend to treat suspected items like that, by taking violence to it, like taking a weapon.
Oh, bye.
Oh, man, we lost him. All right, he'll call back.
Yeah.
For certain.
It's probably the underpass.
It might be.
Right? That's
Yeah.
a dead zone area.
Yeah, and they normally knock
Kmart's a dead zone area.
Yeah, he might have hit one
Is
of
he
those
back?
pockets. All right, I'm watching the lines. Not yet.
He probably is still going.
Yeah, he might be. He
Not
might,
realizing that.
he got
Sorry.
cut, yeah.
Hopefully he's tuning back in.
All right. I'll watch the lines. The lines. Nice. Marjorie Taylor Greene and aliens. Okay. All right. They're in the water. They're hiding somewhere, man. They're high. We got a lot of water, man. I don't know. They might pop out of Coco's Island.
Yeah.
Gotta check our fishermen.
The White House is blaming hobbyists, planes, even the stars when it describes as misidentifications. The latest answer from the White House, because of the pressure from Congress, comes from the repeat sightings over populated areas and even U.S. military facilities now. So there's another story here that is from Fox News, right?
Okay.
So they're reporting that the chief of public affairs of the 88th Air Base Wing confirmed that officials were aware of drones in the vicinity of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Greene County over the weekend. Let me see here. I can confirm that small unmanned aerial systems were spotted in the vicinity of and over Wright-Patterson Air Force Base between December 13th and the 14th. To date, installation leaders have determined that none of the incursions impacted base residents, facilities, or assets. So, a lot of the government officials, I can imagine, military and then also Homeland Security, they're being overwhelmed by all of these phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just say, you know, as you're being overwhelmed, you got to take those in, right? I mean, because again, the statement is you see something, say something. And I kind of agree what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying. I just don't like her rhetoric, you know, and I'm definitely not going to shoot the drones. I'm not going to shoot them down.
Yeah, I'll pass.
But I still am going to be, you know, if I see the drones going over my head and, you know, I'm going to make the phone call. I'll call police dispatch. Hey, there's something going on right above us. You know, I mean, that's what we have been trained to state, right?
Right.
And then also, we should get a response. So the problem is right now, there's so much activity happening over in that area that they're not convinced. Some are even saying it's gotta be training, military training.
Okay. All right.
But the military is saying no, it's the stuff that's coming out right now. It's recreational.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that must be, people have been opening up their Christmas presents early because it has been a constant for like the last month, right? With all of this drone activity in that area, and all of all sizes too. So if I was an alien, if I was not from here, this would be like the opportune time to come and join in on that fun.
Good.
There's so much activity. They're not gonna notice. They're gonna notice.
I don't know.
No one's gonna know.
I need my Star Wars lightsaber
No
or something.
one's gonna know.
I don't know.
Somebody's gonna know.
They don't know. We all know
There's
now.
so much happening.
Right.
And so that's the whole reason why is like this is like the perfect distraction.
Right.
Not just, you know, I'm kind of joking, but also, I don't know, again, this might be the time to show up.
I gotta go and like apologize to a couple of my uncles for saying they're crazy when they saw aliens.
But then
They were
even like
telling the
these
truth.
foreign countries too.
They saw it.
We have to be very vigilant.
Yes.
Because even like these foreign countries are like, hey, now's a good time to show up. And that part I'm serious about. That part I'm very serious. So we as, you know, a community still got to report all of it. All of it.
Keep your guards
even
up.
if you're overwhelmed.
Stay up. Yes.
Somebody's on the line?
Yes, sir.
I'll
Line
just
2.
take
Here
it.
you go.
Adai, Wave 105. Hello? You there? We lost him.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, they'll call back.
Okay.
They'll call back. That's all right. They'll call back.
Yeah. But are you getting a drone for Christmas?
I am.
You got to be careful though with the, you know, they'll
We're gonna suit it up.
They will they'll shut you down. I've had friends where they're in the no-fly zone area and they'll lose its capabilities and just fall from the sky. And that's what that's what I'm also wondering. They have the capabilities to just take them down.
I found Mr.
to
Connor.
deactivate them, and then they just drop from the ground. And so if they're not military assets, make them drop to the ground because it's not
Deactivate them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, deactivate them, turn them off. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
concerning the community in the area.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, Mr. Connor's back.
Connor back.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
Connor, we lost
Mr.
you.
Connor's
The line dropped.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I had to pull over to redial.
No worries. Go for it.
Getting back to Marjorie Taylor Greene and her comment.
Yes, please.
I'm sure here on Guam they have a policy on code for law enforcement for discharging weapons within the city limits, and so that also applies in the United States. And the rhetoric that Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a violent person. That's all. That's all I can say to that effect, because in normal circumstances, if you can't identify something, you don't just pull out a weapon and start shooting over, a populated area. You just don't do that.
Well, and then she's also telling other Americans that they're going to do it, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, and that's the rhetoric that she's spreading, and it's a dangerous message.
Yeah, agreed.
And so that's all I wanted to say, Pauly, on that. And it's also how she was raised in the United States. She's from the backwoods, on the in the South. She was raised in the South that way, and that's how they conduct business. If something is unidentifiable, and you're intruding on their space, they'll resort to that type of violence. And that's sad to say.
Yeah, I feel you. Thanks. I appreciate the phone call.
Thank you, Pauly.
Yeah. All right, appreciate it. Take care. Be safe on the roadways. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Connor.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She's back.
She's back.
She's always been.
I don't know.
She's always been around.
She's interesting. She's very interesting. Her and a Gatling gun.
So she has
I can't see it.
She has a following.
Oh, does she?
She definitely has a following.
She does? Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting.
There was even talk. Could you imagine if she was our vice president?
I'm gonna sit that one out. I'm gonna have to sit that one out, Pauly.
Could you imagine?
I'll sit
let's just be serious here.
Okay.
There were conversations about her name. Like she's very close to President Trump. Very close.
Yeah.
I mean, she was on stage during his campaign and whatnot. And she's a strong woman. She's a very strong, vocal woman, right?
Very. She had like weather conspiracies and all sorts of interest. She's interesting. Space lasers and
oh yeah,
you remember that?
I remember
hey, space lasers.
Speaking of lasers,
what's up?
Jamie Foxx got into it.
No,
with like I want to say with the Jackass people,
the comedian. Actor Jamie
Foxx, who almost died.
That's what I was like, wait, didn't he almost die?
So he has a stand-up show.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's a stand-up show, to be honest with you.
Okay.
On Netflix.
All right.
He basically retells the story.
Oh, I have yet to
which
see.
is very interesting.
You've yet to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's in a crowd and he's just talking about like how he almost died, and he retells the story and he thanks his sister. For helping and not, they wanted a second opinion from a different doctor from a whole nother hospital.
Oh, that's how bad it was. Got you. Okay.
And thank God that his sister did not want to accept what the first doctor had said.
Okay.
Said, no, something is really wrong with my brother.
Right.
And so they went and got another opinion from a whole nother hospital, a whole nother health organization. Right. He got the help that he needed, and he's, healthy.
Good.
So he's celebrating his birthday recently.
Okay.
And a laser, one of those, back in the day when those things were super popular in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, you were buying these
little cat
laser
lasers,
things.
the cat ones?
Yeah. And then you can change the tips, and it could look like random things.
I remember now. Okay.
So on his birthday, apparently the Jackass group.
Yes.
Right? The funny people that do random things,
Steve-O and
obscene,
guys, yeah,
obscene
okay.
things and whatnot.
Bam, yeah.
So apparently they had one of these lasers and they replaced the tip with there's kids still in the car right now, but it's I don't even want to say this the scientific word, but basically an organ.
Okay, all right, so they changed the tip.
So they changed the tip to an organ, a male organ, right? And so he was offended by it because it was on his table. He was like, what the heck's going on? And so there was a back and forth like, dude, it's my birthday. What the heck? And I guess they thought it was kind of funny. Maybe they were even filming. Maybe, I don't know. But this was at a dinner, and he's with Jamie Foxx is with his family celebrating his birthday. And so a glass ended up getting shattered on his face or something. He got cut by some glass.
Got you now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now.
And so cops came, and they just said it's an altercation between two different parties and whatnot. And then Jamie Foxx puts on, on social media, that they're trying to take me down, but I'm too strong for that. God is on my side. Something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
So poor guy is on his birthday.
Yeah.
And, this is the wrong dude to, he's been through a lot. Yeah. But that's life, right?
That is.
Like, sometimes these kind of ridiculous things happen on your birthday even.
Yeah, it's like, dude, come on, guys, grow up a little bit. Yeah, okay, all right. It's his birthday. What's wrong with
Have you ever had, like, the cops called on your birthday party before?
No.
No?
No.
Then you don't know how to party.
No. Fire department. We had the fire
department?
Fire department, because you can only have so many people in one vicinity.
Okay.
So
was this during the pandemic and you guys...
No,
yeah. And your neighbors are snitching on you?
No, not that kind. We maxed out. We had it closed doors.
Wow, that's a lot
out.
of people.
Maxed out. Yeah, we maxed out. We maxed out.
Like, so much so
it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Wow, that's a party.
It's a party. I did not realize how dangerous it can be.
That's a party.
Fire extinguishers all need to be. It's serious. Follow the code. Follow the code. I learned that now.
Like the whole Saipan showed up to your birthday party?
That's exactly what it was. It was my birthday party, and we had an entire block party. Yeah, we didn't realize. Yeah, you know what?
That's cool.
We didn't map it out.
See, you
really
do know how to party.
Hey, we didn't have the cops. We had the fire department.
Yeah, but when the fire department shows up, you're just like, hey man, let me make you a plate. Hey, salute.
Yeah. So
want something on some Kelligwin before you go?
Yeah. So
this will all be cleaned up by 3 a.m. I promise you.
That's exactly what happened. So yeah, our fire department, we had them being bouncers for the rest of the night.
Nice.
It was good. It was a good time.
Nice.
It was a good time. Yeah. Good time. Yeah. Following the code. Follow code.
Yeah,
so
that's
they
were just they were on fire watch for the bonfire.
That part 2.
We're on fire watch.
That part 2.
Just watching this bonfire right now.
Indeed, they were, man. Very grateful for our guys. Yes, thank you. Though.
All right, we'll take our break.
Let's do it.
Take our break, and then on the other side, we got a couple more things. And then don't forget, on the other side of the CBS News in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to play another 12 games of Christmas.
Exciting. Let's do it.
Yeah, when we come back, not from this break, but the CBS News break.
All right.
We'll do it. We'll give you another opportunity to win a whole lot of prizes from our sponsors. I'm going to do another Home Alone trivia question.
Nice.
So it's going to be based off of the Home Alone movie.
Okay, Home Alone trivia.
And I'll give you multiple choice as well.
Multiple choice. All right, that's going to help us out.
All right, we'll take our first break in the 6 o'clock hour. And then on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about the legislature, because bills are being sent to the governor right now.
Okay.
Senator Will Parkinson has been censored, right?
Okay.
And so what does that mean? Basically, he has been condemned for his actions by his colleagues. Mm-hmm. Does he get fined? No. Does he go to jail? No.
Okay.
Does he not get to be senator? No. Does he not get to run for senator again? No.
Okay.
So,
all right.
but it's still, when you're looked in that way by your colleagues, it still holds some weight. And could it hold more weight in the future for him? I don't know. He continues to deny it. yesterday, no, 2 days ago, Monday night, right, when we all thought they were recessed, but they actually went back in at around 8 and very close to 10 p.m.
Okay.
He didn't not vote on that resolution because it has everything to do with him.
Following.
And he says, I have not been provided due process in a court of law, so excuse me.
I see what you
And so he was excused from voting.
Okay.
And
Right on.
there was enough votes. Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes voted yes on that resolution as well. The only two that did not, that were present, were Senator Dwayne St-Nicholas and Senator Roy Canetta. So we'll talk a little bit about that and then some others on the other side of this Wave 105.
Buenas and Hafa Day. EduQuentas is now every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tune in at 105.1 Wave FM to listen to EduQuentas. EduQuentas is a special initiative by Guam Department of Education dedicated to shining the light on the incredible achievements of our students, teachers, and staff. Once again, join us on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wave 105.1, the sound of Guam.
Hafa Day, Guam. Good morning and welcome back. It's Mornings with Patty here on the Wave 105 FM, 6:42 in the morning. Your time check is being brought to you by our friends over at Wendy's. 2 for $4 is back at Wendy's, Guam, and you can choose from the sausage biscuit or Wendy's sausage and cheese English muffin. Small seasoned potatoes and a medium hot coffee. Get 2, it's just $4. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for 4 breakfast deals today. Studio lines are at 922-1051 and 1052. You can also reach us through WhatsApp at 922-1051. We are streaming online on the World Wide Web at thewave105.com. Like, follow, and subscribe our YouTube channel at Wave 105.1 FM Guam. Your local headlines for you right now with Skylar Obispo from the Marianas Business Journal and the Guam Business Magazine. Hafa Day and Good Morning Guam.
Buenas and Hafa Day. My name is Skylar Obispo. Here's the latest from the Marianas Business Journal. A 20-year-old has been arrested for driving while impaired on the night of December 15th. According to a magistrate's complaint issued by the Judiciary of Guam, officers from the Guam Police Department observed a Honda Accord driving on the wrong side of the road. When officers approached, they identified the operator as Chanel Francina Story, who officers described as having bloodshot eyes and smelling of an intoxicating beverage. When asked if she had been drinking, Story responded that she had smoked a large amount of weed. She agreed to take a field sobriety test, which resulted in a presumptive positive that she was under the influence of alcohol. Story was taken into custody and she became belligerent and refusing to get into the back of the officer's patrol vehicle. A breath test performed at the precinct revealed that she had a blood alcohol content of 0.185%. She was formally charged with driving while impaired, resisting arrest, and the underage consumption of alcohol. In more news, Starlux Airlines, in partnership with Lion Travel Group, announced that it would return to Guam after plans were derailed by Typhoon Mawar in May of 2023. The Starlux charter will arrive on January 30th on Guam, flying a 188-seat Airbus A321neo with a return flight to Taoyuan International Airport in Taiwan to depart on February 3rd. The airline originally planned a 5-day charter in April of 2023, and Lion Travel planned on opening an office at the Hyatt Regency Guam, but ceased flights after Typhoon Mawar. Reporting for the Marianas Business Journal, The Wave 105, and Power 98, I'm Skylar Obispo.
Happy holidays from Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Gift certificates available for the perfect present. Visit us today and spread the cheer. Come in and make your holiday brighter with Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Call 647-SLAM for more information.
It's here! A fuel-tastic deal from Mobile and Don Don Donkey that guarantees to make you smile.
Fuel up with a minimum $30 fuel purchase at Mobile and get $3 off your next $30 purchase at Don Don Donkey.
But that's not all. Spend $30 at Donkey and enjoy $3 off your next $30 fuel purchase at Mobile.
Register your Smiles card today for double the savings, double the rewards. Fuel up and save with Mobile and Don Don Donkey.
Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Hafa Day, Guam. Let's go ahead and hit the streets. This will be your first look at your real deal traffic report. We are cruising the streets on the northern side of the island. Traffic is still light right now. You will find some tight delays around Camp Blas, Astumbo, Ukidu High, and GRMC. Route 1 in Gigo outside of Anderson Air Force Base, the main gate north and southbound traffic there. Coming around Pela Supermarket in Gigo and heading towards Dedido, you will find some north and southbound delays. Machechi Ave, you will have a nice and smooth ride through there. Route 16 is looking really nice and clear, as well as Mongmong to Mighty. That's going to be along Route 8 and Route 10 and 16, guys. So again, traffic is still light, so if there's anywhere on the streets of Guam that you need to be, now would probably be your best bet. However, we would like to encourage and remind all the motorists to just slow it down this morning. Watch your speed limit in the villages and in the school zones. On the roads, not on the phones, no texting and driving on the streets of Guam. And remember, seatbelts are sexy. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened and that the kids are strapped safely in the proper booster and car seats. This is your Real Deal Traffic Report for Mornings with Patty on the Wave 105 FM.
Happy holidays from Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Gift certificates available for the perfect present. Visit us today and spread the cheer. Come in and make your holiday brighter with Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Call 647-SLAM for more information.
It's here! A fuel-tastic deal from Mobile and Don Don Donkey that guarantees to make you smile. Fuel up with a minimum $30 fuel purchase at Mobile and get $3 off your next $30 purchase at Don Don Donkey.
But that's not all. Spend $30 at Donkey and enjoy $3 off your next $30 fuel purchase at Mobile.
Register your Smiles card today for double the savings, double the rewards. Fuel up and save with Mobile and Don Don Donkey. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup at your convenience or delivery right to your doorstep. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good To Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Talk the way it should be. Wave 105 FM.
All right, welcome back. Mornings with Patty. My name is Pauly Suba, filling in for Patti Arroyo, and we are rolling with dice. All right.
Good morning.
So we're going to go to part 2 of the session, the legislature session, right? And so they are now talking about Resolution 579, which was... The main sponsor is Speaker Therese Terlai. There are a couple others on this as well. And this is relative to censoring the disorderly, sexually explicit gesture committed by Senator William A. Parkinson during the October 2024 emergency legislative session. This was when the mayors were there requesting for more money for their maintenance workers, right? And Mayor Jesse Alec had saw it. He sent a letter requesting that, more than requesting, he's basically saying, you know, the legislature needs to do something about this because he just witnessed an alleged sexual harassment, William Parkinson's gesture towards Senator Joanne Brown. Senator Joanne Brown said it on the floor. This is all on record now. Public. She saw it, directed towards her. Senator Tello Taitagui said she saw it directed towards Senator Joanne Brown. Senator Will Parkinson has denied it the whole time. I wrote emails to him twice, and he says, no, I absolutely did not do this. At one point, too, sent me a file of Speaker Therese Terlai saying, look at this. And it was Speaker Therese Terlai saying the F word on the floor. Oh. She kind of caught herself.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, in the heat of passion and whatnot, she said it. So this is Speaker Therese Terlai talking about this resolution. This was a little bit more than past 8 p.m. I want to say they even If they didn't go over 10, Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes made a motion to go over 10 p.m. to finish voting. So it was later on in the evening on Monday night. So here it is. Here's Speaker speaking on that resolution.
So again, I thank my colleagues who were willing to join me in sponsoring this resolution. And I hope that they will join, that all my colleagues
Oh, that's
will
the end. Can you go to 54? Yeah. The 54-minute mark. Yeah? Okay, go ahead. 57:54. My bad. 57 minutes and 54 seconds in. Yeah.
None of us is perfect.
There you go.
I'll be the first to admit I lose my temper. I raise my voice. I do all kinds of things that have been highly criticized. I'm not proud of them, trying to make myself better, and I will continue to do that. But we are in the middle of an era on Guam where sexual abuse is prevalent. It's not an exception, it's prevalent. And we as a legislature have tried to stop that by making stiffer penalties, by changing the items necessary to prove these things, to make it easier for victims to report these things because they're the most underreported crimes. They're most difficult to prosecute. Sexual crimes happen because perpetrators believe they will be hidden. Sometimes they are purposely secretive and hidden. Sometimes they are telling their victims under threat not to report these things. Because these perpetrators believe they will not be held accountable. Not by our system, not by their friends, not by their neighbors. Because, quote, boys will be boys, unquote. Because of loyalty, like the Boys Club. Because they accuse the women who object that they are on a witch hunt. A witch hunt, by the way. I don't recall any male witches that were ever persecuted, hunted, and killed. They feel protected because, even without an apology, they are forgiven by other men on behalf of us women. What? This is something before the legislative body. It is official business. It is an official question answerable to the people of Guam of whether we believe this behavior is acceptable or not towards women in the floor, towards women in the workplace, towards women in schools, girls in schools, women in their homes, anywhere. Across the nation, it's very rare that sexual harassment is witnessed. The world, or the nation at least, has embraced slogans like enough, no more, and other actions. And all of this in hopes of giving victims, the people who are suffering this type of harassment, the confidence that no position of power allows sexual harassment. No position, no place. And I would like, by this resolution, particularly where there has been no apology, to say no more. Not this legislature, not any legislature. I don't care what the Urban Dictionary says. That's not how we run a legislature. That's not what we allow for our women and girls on Guam. And that's not what we are going to accept from the men. And I know this is not easy. Like I said, there is no joy. But I really want to thank Mayor Alec for doing what he felt was his duty. Not just once, but repeatedly. To say what he knows to be truth. For those in the session who are willing to do that. In an effort. And believe me, I do not want to be the person who's in the TV in the homes of our Manamko talking about sexually explicit gestures of male masturbation angled towards any female senator. But if that's what it takes to stop it, then that's what we're going to have to do. Again, in the absence of remorse. So it's a very unfortunate day. Not at all something I ever wanted to do while I am in here. But we fight for women and girls every day. We just have to make a decision in here. Whether we are the all-boys club, where loyalty to each other overrides loyalty to the people of Guam, to the women and girls of Guam. And what is acceptable? Whether you are a daughter, a father, a mother, a brother or a sister, what is acceptable? And what example are we setting? Because we can stiffen penalties, but if we can't hold ourselves accountable, then that's for naught. So again, I thank my colleagues who were willing to join me in sponsoring this resolution, and I hope that they will join, that all my colleagues would join me in voting on this resolution. Sizuusmasu.
Okay, so that is Speaker speaking on the resolution to censor Senator Will Parkinson, saying that he had never apologized. Well, again, the emails that I've sent, he said he has never done that gesture. He did not do the gesture. He was on with Patti Arroyo saying maybe they thought I had made that kind of gesture, but I clearly did not. He voted to excuse himself because he said he was not provided due process in a court of law, so he did not vote. Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas, he got up and he talked about that this was a witch hunt, and that's why she mentioned witch hunt. And then also she called, she didn't say him by name, but basically if you watch the session and you listen to Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas's testimony on it, he does forgive Senator Will Parkinson. He goes, it's not for me to do that. Senator Joanne Brown is the one that can decide to forgive Senator Will Parkinson. But just so you know, I forgive you. And that's why Speaker goes, without an apology, they are forgiving on behalf of other men. So the resolution has been that resolution doesn't need to go to the governor. That's already, the body has already adopted this resolution stating that they are censoring Senator Will Parkinson, censoring the disorderly sexually explicit gesture committed by Senator William Parkinson during the October 2024 emergency legislative session. Senator Telotategui says it's never too late to apologize. It's never too late. 7:01 in the morning, we will take the break. We'll go to the CBS News. And on the other side, we're going to give you an opportunity to win some prizes thanks to our sponsors, right? So it's the 12 Games of Christmas. Mm-hmm. And again, I want to thank our sponsors, Burger King, Guam Reef Hotel, Sbarro, KFC, Coast 360, TGI Fridays, Lotte Hotel, Vince Jewelers, Riga Royal Laguna Guam, and Lysol, distributed by Cosmos Distributing. Up for grabs on the other side of the CBS News for today. Another $25 gift certificate to TGI Fridays, $10 Munang Pikas gift certificate, and another Coast 360 car shade. I'm going to give you multiple choice. The question is going to be pertaining to Home Alone. So, you know, a lot of us have been rewatching. I know I have been rewatching. Christmas movies. This is going to have something to do with Harry and Marv. Harry and Marv are the burglars. They go around stealing stuff at all the houses, but they messed with the wrong kid.
Yes!
They messed with the wrong kid. So that question for you to win those prizes that I had mentioned, up for grabs if you can get the question correct. I won't share the question, but the hints are it's revolving around revolving around Home Alone and revolving around the characters Harry and Marv. I'll give you the question after the CBS News. We'll take the third caller. I'll also give the third caller multiple choice. All right, so stay tuned for that. We are KGUM-FM in Hagåtña, Guam.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Police in Madison, Wisconsin are still trying to determine what drove a 15-year-old girl to open fire at her school yesterday.
Identifying a motive is our top priority. But at this time, it appears that the motive was a combination of factors.
Police Chief Sean Barnes.
We're looking into her online activity. We're asking anyone who knew her or who may have insights into her feelings leading up to yesterday to please contact the Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
A student and teacher were killed before the shooter took her own life. A suspected serial killer in New York has now been charged with another murder. Here's correspondent Matt Piper.
The district attorney in Suffolk County, New York, says human hair found on a seventh dead woman, Valerie Mack, is a likely match with accused killer Rex Heuermann's daughter. Court documents also reveal pornographic images of sexual torture that were found on Heuermann's electronic devices, showed bindings similar to rope ligatures found on Mack's remains when she was killed in 2000. Outside of court, Heuermann's lawyer Michael Brown disputed the evidence.
How is it that all of a sudden now, after a year and a half, we are now coming out with these results and this DNA analysis? What is the delay of examining a hair?
Matt Piper, CBS News, New York.
Ukraine admits it was behind the assassination of a Russian weapons chief. Vicky Barker has that.
General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's nuclear and chemical weapons division, was killed when a bomb hidden in a scooter was detonated remotely as he and an assistant left his apartment building, killing them both. Ukraine says it carried out the attack. The Kremlin is vowing to avenge what it's called this despicable act. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Americans have less confidence in the country's judicial system.
The Gallup poll shows only 35% of those surveyed have confidence in the courts, the confidence level dropping 24 percentage points over the past 4 years. Gallup says that drop comes from both sides of the political spectrum. As for the U.S. Supreme Court, the survey says Democratic trust fell to 24% after the court's immunity ruling favoring Donald Trump. More than 70% of Republicans say they do trust the high court. Peter King, CBS News.
Researchers say taking vitamin D and calcium supplements doesn't necessarily help in preventing falls or fractures. Dr. Gautam Rao.
We didn't find any evidence to support that these were effective in doing so. And the population we're looking at were postmenopausal women and men aged 60 or over.
Another down day for the Dow on Wall Street, off 363 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
A bipartisan bill that would recognize the bald eagle as the national bird is heading to President Biden's desk. Here's CBS's Steve Kathan.
The bald eagle has been a symbol of the U.S. for more than 200 years. It was put on the Great Seal back in 1782. Once it was on the brink of extinction.
In the 1960s, there were only a few hundred bald eagles left. Now they are found across the country.
That report 17 years ago told of the bald eagle's comeback. Wildlife officials say it has been remarkable. The National Eagle Center played a key role in pushing for the bill. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
U.S. News and World Report is out with its annual list of best vacation spots. Tops on the list, the Swiss Alps and Bora Bora. Top destinations in the U.S. include Bar Harbor, Maine, Telluride, Colorado, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned, and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question. And you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it, too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
This holiday season, fill your loved one's stockings with a Subway Holiday Gift Card. Receive a free 6-inch sub for every $25 Subway gift card purchase. Promo ends December 31st. Free 6-inch subs are redeemable through January 31st, 2025 only. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
New to Guam or just want to explore more? TheGuamGuide.com is your ultimate island resource with latest events, activities, and insider tips. Visit TheGuamGuide.com and follow us on Instagram at TheGuamGuide.
Hungry for a big meal? Meet your match with Chili's Bundles. With 3 bundles to choose from. Each bundle delivers big on all the flavors you crave, starting at $30. The Tex-Mix Bundle features flavors from south of the border entrees like the brisket quesadilla or the Chipotle Fresh Mix Bowl and tacos. Indulge in the classic bundle of the humongous Bacon Rancher Burger and Fajita Combo. Got a bigger appetite? Then go for the Premium Bundle with a half rack of ribs and honey Chipotle shrimp and steak. Plus, all bundles come with our chips and salsa to get the party started. At Chili's, more life and delicious bundles happen here.
Hafa, Guam. Good morning and welcome back. It's Mornings with Patty on the Wave 105 FM, 11 minutes after 7 o'clock on a Hump Day Wednesday. Show this morning is being brought to you by Chili's Grill and Bar, Patch Tinting and Detailing, GTA. We start with you, Subway, Eat Fresh, Bank Pacific, where others place branches, we place roots. Good to Go, We Deliver. Download the app or order online at goodtogowedeliver.com. Take Care Insurance Company, our island, your health plan. Your local headlines for you right now with Skylar Obispo from the Marianas Business Journal and the Guam Business Magazine. Hafa Day and Good Morning, Guam.
Buenas and Hafa Day. My name is Skylar Obispo. Here's the latest from the Marianas Business Journal. A 20-year-old has been arrested for driving while impaired on the night of December 15th. According to a magistrate's complaint issued by the Judiciary of Guam, officers from the Guam Police Department observed a Honda Accord driving on the wrong side of the road. When officers approached, they identified the operator as Chanel Francina Story, who officers described as having bloodshot eyes and smelling of an intoxicating beverage. When asked if she had been drinking, Story responded that she had smoked a large amount of weed. She agreed to take a field sobriety test, which resulted in a presumptive positive that she was under the influence of alcohol. Story was taken into custody and she became belligerent and refusing to get into the back of the officer's patrol vehicle. A breath test performed at the precinct revealed that she had a blood alcohol content of 0.185%. She was formally charged with driving while impaired, resisting arrest, and the underage consumption of alcohol. In more news, Starlux Airlines, in partnership with Lion Travel Group, announced that it would return to Guam after plans were derailed by Typhoon Mawar in May of 2023. The Starlux charter will arrive on January 30th on Guam, flying a 188-seat Airbus A321neo with a return flight to Taoyuan International Airport in Taiwan to depart on February 3rd. The airline originally planned a 5-day charter in April of 2023, and Lion Travel planned on opening an office at the Hyatt Regency Guam, but ceased flights after Typhoon Mawar. Reporting for the Marianas Business Journal, the Wave 105, and Power 98, I'm Skylar Obispo.
Honey, it's our favorite time of year, and I got you something to celebrate.
A McRib! It's just what I wanted.
Happy McRib season, sweetie.
I love you.
I love you too.
Actually, I was talking to my McRib.
Oh, okay, well, I'll leave you two alone.
Celebrate McRib season with McDonald's. Enjoy the deliciously saucy McRib, only for a limited time and only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question. And you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
Get ready for an exciting afternoon with me, Ed Suarez, on the Ed Suarez Live Show, Monday through Friday. Tune in for your daily dose of motivation that Kickstart your drive, a self-care corner to nurture your soul. And stay tuned for the games and giveaways. The Ed Suarez Live Show is brought to you by Pure Swing Golf, FHB Health Center, Burger King, Rotary Sushi, GTA, Rui Spa, and Live House Guam. Tune in to Ed Suarez Live on Power 98.
Hafa Guam traffic for you right now. It's a real deal traffic report. We're looking at traffic on Long Route 1 this morning outside of the Micronesia Mall. You'll find this on Marine Corps Drive North and both southbound traffic. Getting around Jack in the Box outside of the Micronesia Mall, you will find some tight, hot pockets there. You will have a nice and smooth flow. It looks like Hamburger Road has no congestion this morning. If you want to take Happy Landing, you will also have a nice and smooth ride through there. Route 14, that's going to be Pauly Suba Road. We have no congestion there. Most of the delays this morning will be at the JFK and Kmart intersection or the ITC FHP intersection. We're looking at GPO. That's going to be Guam Premier Outlet, Challenge San Antonio, north and both southbound. And it looks like it stretches up and around St. Anthony's this morning. So let's continue to watch our speed limit. Allow some braking distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you. Let's not tailgate each other this morning. Eyes on the roads, not on the phones. No texting and driving on the streets of Guam. And remember, guys, seatbelts are sexy. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened and that the kids are strapped safely in the proper booster and car seats. This is your Real Deal Traffic Report for Mornings with Patty here on the Wave 105 FM.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question. And you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
Keeping you informed with the best. Wave 105 FM.
Welcome back. Mornings with Patty. My name is Pauly Suba, filling in for Patti Arroyo, 7:17 a.m. on a Wednesday. 671-922-1051 is the number. You're going to need that, right, for your opportunity to win one of these cool prizes. Actually, all of these prizes, if you get this trivia question correct, right? So up for grabs is a $25 gift certificate to TGI Fridays, a $10 gift certificate to Munning Picas, and a Coast 360 car shade. We're going to look for the third caller. I've got multiple choice for you. 671-922-1051. In Home Alone, what was the gang name of Harry and Marv, right?
That's a good one. Nice question.
So Marv, he's the one that said, we're called this. And Harry was not having it. Harry's like, I don't know. I feel like that is sick behavior.
Okay, all right.
But Marv insisted that their gang name was this. Third caller, right? 671-922-1051.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Hafa, you're caller number 1. Call us back, yeah? Yeah. All right, here we go. Caller number 2. Hafa, you're caller number 2. Bye. Okay. And caller number 3. Is that fast? Wow. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi.
Hafa, who am I speaking with?
This is Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready to win some prizes here?
Yeah,
Did you get the question? Did you hear it?
I heard it.
Okay, I've got multiple choice. Do you even need it?
You know what? Probably not.
Nice. Yeah. I love the bravery. You're feeling confident. Okay, so are you sure you don't need multiple choice? You got this, right?
Yeah, I got this.
Okay. Harry and Marv, mostly Marv, says their name is this. What is it?
Wet Bandit.
Biba. Yeah. You got it. You didn't even need the multiple choice. Is it one of your favorite movies?
You know my grandkids.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have grandkids, but
Yeah.
I feel I feel the same way as your grandkids. It is when it comes to Christmas, I'm a little bit torn because Home Alone is my favorite, but then when I watch Elf, I'm like, okay, never mind. Elf's my favorite.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
It's one or the other. Home Alone 2's okay, but Home Alone 1 is just the classic. It really is. You got it correct. It is the Wet Bandits. I was going to give you multiple choice. I was going to say Young Guns, Wet Bandits, or Wise Guys. But again, you didn't even need it. They got caught because of the whole Wet Bandits calling card, right? Because they kept Marv kept breaking like the or leaving the water on in the basements of every house that they robbed, right? Yeah. So because of that, they left a pattern, and they were able to tie them to all of the burglaries in that neighborhood, thanks to Kevin McAllister. So, congratulations, Brenda. Can you stay on the line? Don't go anywhere just yet, because we got to get your winner's information and make sure you get these prizes, yeah?
Sure,
Okay.
thanks.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you both.
All right. So, Dice is going to take care of Brenda. Congratulations once again. Brenda wins the TGI Fridays gift certificate, the $10 Munning Pika's gift certificate, and a Coast 360 car shade. Again, the 12 games of Christmas here on Wave 105 brought to you by our sponsors: Burger King, Guam Reef Hotel, Sbarro, KFC, Coast 360, TGI Fridays, Lotte Hotel, Vince Jewelers, Riga Royal, Laguna Guam, and Lysol, distributed by Cosmos Distributing. Don't forget that even our sister stations are giving away prizes every day leading up until Christmas Eve on Power 98, and as well as our brand new radio station. If you haven't heard, maybe you don't even you haven't been told, but we've got a new radio station that plays all country.
Yeehaw!
Right? Yeah, and it's on 99.5 FM, so it's Route 99. They're also giving away prizes there too. So if you want to tune in anytime this morning and the afternoon, let me just double check. Yep, they are giving away in the afternoon as well some very cool prizes on Route 99 FM. And then here on Wave 105, the grand prize on Christmas Eve, just so you keep tuning in. And this is what I'm going to do for you. As long as I'm here in the morning, everybody's going to be eligible to win, right? Because every day, like tomorrow and Friday, we're going to need new winners. So if you won Monday, Tuesday, or today, Brenda, you're not eligible to win Thursday or Friday.
Got it. Okay.
Just because I want maximum amount of winners, right?
Absolutely.
And then on Monday,
Okay.
also new winner. But on Tuesday, anybody and everybody, whether you won before or not, give you an opportunity to win the grand prize. And so that's on Christmas Eve on this show. $25 gift certificate to TGI Fridays, $10 Munning Pika's, dinner for two at La Cienne at Lotte Hotel, and then a choice of a turkey or a ham set for Christmas. For New Year's Eve.
Yeah, right on.
My bad.
Great
For
deal.
New Year's Eve. And the reason for that is Reef Hotel, they need 48 hours to prepare the ham or the turkey for you because they're going to cook it.
Yes.
And it's a set, too, so there's things that come along with it, right?
Yes.
So they need 48 hours. So it's perfect because you're all cooked out anyways from Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? But you want to celebrate New Year's Eve. So this ham or this turkey will be available for you at the Guam Reef Hotel just in time for New Year's Eve. So we're going to give it away on Christmas Eve, so that way you have time to come get your prizes, get the information, get your gift certificates, and be able to take advantage of the New Year's Eve for your ham or your turkey, yeah?
Right on.
And it's still, if you win this prize on Christmas Eve, you still got that $25 gift certificate to TGI Fridays, and you still got that $10 Munning Picas, and you still got that gift certificate for dinner for two at La Cien at Lotte Hotel that you can Christmas to yourself,
right,
or Christmas to somebody else. It's a great stocking stuffer, right? So there are many options for you. Again, that's going to be next Tuesday, Christmas Eve, here on the show. And in the meantime, also, on the bright side, when we have our guest host, Issa, and our guest hosts are going to be giving out prizes as well. So today is Wednesday, the 18th. They are going to give away another $25 gift certificate to TGI Fridays. Yes. So there you go. 7:26 in the morning. We'll take the break now because on the other side, we're going to get a hold of Daria Calvo, who is one of the founders of Nenpire. Let's do it. Yeah, and Nenpreneurs. And so they've got a very cool Christmas. Let me see here, because I've been holding on to this for quite a while. And I've been waiting for this event too. From there, nope, that's not it. Let me just double check here. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna go to WhatsApp. Oh, never mind. We're actually going to move. We're gonna call her on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Friday.
We'll call her on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got a message here. So we will reach out to her on Friday morning. Gotcha. All right, we'll just take the break now, though.
Okay.
Wave 105, my name is Pauly Suba, filling in for Patti Arroyo. It's Mornings with Patti, and we're rolling with dice on Wave 105.
Chili's wants to help you celebrate this holiday season with a gift for everyone. Purchase a $50 gift card at Chili's and receive a $10 coupon for yourself. Give a gift, get a gift. At Chili's, great value and memories happen here.
New to Guam or just want to explore more? TheGuamGuide.com is your ultimate island resource with latest events, activities, and insider tips. Visit TheGuamGuide.com and follow us on Instagram at TheGuamGuide.
This holiday season, fill your loved one's stockings with a Subway Holiday Gift Card. Receive a free 6-inch sub for every $25 Subway gift card purchase. Promo ends December 31st. Free 6-inch subs are redeemable through January 31st, 2025 only. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Santa's coming in. Things are looking up. Bank Pacific has rolled out Bruno's favorite My Christmas Loan with an annual percentage rate as low as 5.4% and up to $50,000. And with our Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you have the flexibility of using your money where you want, when you want. My Christmas Loan. Contactless Visa debit card. Let's make Christmas merrier in 24. Equal opportunity lender. Credit conditions apply. 70 years of holiday cheer.
Hafa, Guam, and welcome back. Your local headlines for you right now, and it's all being brought to you by our friends at McDonald's. Treat yourself this holiday season with a festive holiday pie, creamy custard in a buttery golden crust. Grab yours today, and it's only at McDonald's. I'm loving it. Your local headlines at Skylar Obispo of the Marianas Business Journal and the Guam Business Magazine.
Buenas and Hafa Day. My name is Skylar Obispo. Here's the latest from the Marianas Business Journal. A 20-year-old has been arrested for driving while impaired on the night of December 15th. According to a magistrate's complaint issued by the Judiciary of Guam, officers from the Guam Police Department observed a Honda Accord driving on the wrong side of the road. When officers approached, they identified the operator as Chanel Francina Story, who officers described as having bloodshot eyes and smelling of an intoxicating beverage. When asked if she had been drinking, Story responded that she had smoked a large amount of weed. She agreed to take a field sobriety test, which resulted in a presumptive positive that she was under the influence of alcohol. Story was taken into custody and she became belligerent and refusing to get into the back of the officer's patrol vehicle. A breath test performed at the precinct revealed that she had a blood alcohol content of 0.185%. She was formally charged with driving while impaired, resisting arrest, and the underage consumption of alcohol. In more news, Starlux Airlines, in partnership with Lion Travel Group, announced that it would return to Guam after plans were derailed by Typhoon Mawar in May of 2023. The Starlux charter will arrive on January 30th on Guam, flying a 188-seat Airbus A321neo with a return flight to Taoyuan International Airport in Taiwan to depart on February 3rd. The airline originally planned a 5-day charter in April of 2023, and Lion Travel planned on opening an office at the Hyatt Regency Guam, but ceased flights after Typhoon Mawar. Reporting for the Marianas Business Journal, The Wave 105, and Power 98, I'm Skylar Obispo.
Hafa Day, it's Pauly Suba of Wave 105 and host of The Bright Side. Get ready, because The Bright Side just got brighter. We're hitting the radio waves from 2 to 6 p.m. every weekday, baby. We'll dive into local politics and highlight what's happening in your community. Call into the show or leave a comment and share what's on your mind as we figure out these world problems together. We'll talk to the people that are moving and shaking things up. The Bright Side is brought to you by Vitali's Italian Restaurant, GTA Teleguam, Chili's, Good to Go, and Subway. Take a break from all of that shade and join the Bright Side on Wave 105.
Hafa Day, Guam. Good morning and welcome back. It's Mornings with Patty here on the Wave 105 FM. It is time to hit the streets once again. Here's another quick look at your real deal traffic report for you, Guam. And we're looking at traffic on the southern side of the island along Route 4 in Doña this morning. It does look like we got some north and southbound traffic, and you'll find that outside of Mobile Gas Station in Doña this morning. After that, you'll have a nice and smooth ride. A little delay outside of Tendon Inda. You're going to find that along Pago Bay, heading towards Chalon Pago, or getting up and around Ordot. Some north and both southbound traffic. Cost You Less Express, that intersection north and both southbound. Sinahanya traffic is light. It will switch up if you're coming around Hagåtña this morning, especially outside of West O'Brien Drive, the Bank of Guam intersection, or the Agana Shopping Center. Again, folks, let's continue to watch our speed limit. Eyes on the roads, not on the phones. No texting and driving on the streets of Guam. Make sure that your seatbelts are fastened. Remember, Guam, seatbelts are sexy. This is your Real Deal Traffic Report for Mornings with Patty here on the Wave 105 FM.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned, and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question, and you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
Chili's wants to help you celebrate this holiday season with a gift for everyone. Purchase a $50 gift card at Chili's and receive a $10 coupon for yourself. Give a gift, get a gift. At Chili's, great value and memories happen here.
New to Guam or just want to explore more? TheGuamGuide.com is your ultimate island resource with latest events, activities, and insider tips. Visit TheGuamGuide.com and follow us on Instagram at TheGuamGuide.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back, Mornings with Patty. My name is Pauly Suba, 7:34 in the morning. We're going to be reaching out to Senator Chris Duenas. So there was a little bit of confusion, right? And I have to apologize. I got it wrong when I was trying to catch up yesterday morning to see what bills, what resolutions passed. So Bill 250, and I should have listened more because Speaker did say that it did pass. But I was counting how many votes, and there was only 7. 7 votes. And so 7 isn't the number. It's 8. 8 is the majority. 8 to pass. But because there were only 12 senators present, it passed. And so Senator Chris Duenas is going to help me better understand why that is, because this has happened in the past. And so I want to thank Senator Chris Duenas for spending some time with us once again. Hafa, Senator, thank you so much for clarifying some things for me.
Good morning, and have a Malik day today, Pauly. How you doing?
I'm doing well, always. No complaints, Senator, no complaints. So, and I have a feeling you don't have any complaints with how the vote went. I was worried, though, right? Because that's why I messaged you. I'm like, how is this so? 7 votes. It normally doesn't pass. 8 is the number that I'm looking at. Speaker did say that because there's 12, this bill passes, but can you share more details on why that's so?
Sure. So the history of this is, I believe it was, probably about maybe 8 years ago. There was a vote in the legislature. I believe it was on a bond, or our listeners could look it up.
Yeah,
and
I'm trying to look it up too.
It was a measure that Governor Cabo really wanted to get passed, and so there was always kind of a quiet understanding with legal minds outside, and it was always kind of whenever contentious votes came up and things lost by 1 vote, people would say, the Organic Act specifically says members present and voting, and so Governor Cabo was so compelled on the issue that he was trying to pass, that he took the case to, I believe, the Superior, or maybe it went as high as the Supreme Court, to render a decision on whether or not the Organic Act is strictly interpreted, and if we're not interpreting it properly, which means majority vote is, of course, you need 8 for a quorum. So that means if there was a quorum of 8, even as much as 5 votes, Pauly, could pass any bill if the strict interpretation of the Organic Act is the assembly of the legislature no less than 21. That's why when we went to 21 to 15, it doesn't prescribe you have to have 21 exactly, but no less, or no more than 21. And so really when we're at 15, 5 votes can pass any bill. So he won. The interpretation from the courts was passed down. And so that's why now every time we have a quorum, the majority vote is members of present and voting. So even if there was 13 in the hall, I still would have won with 7 because that's the majority of members present and voting.
Okay, understood. Yeah, I'm trying to find some. I'm not sure if I found the right one that happened back in 2011, because now I'm seeing that there's quite a few controversial bond borrowing bills. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. And it was really kind of landmark because the one thing that the courts did do is it didn't change the outcome. Yeah. Because the way the court operates is normally when judges render a decision, it's not retroactive. So there was always, but it's going forward. So it doesn't mean that any of the laws, bills passed in the past we're now eligible to become law. It's always going forward. But going forward from that point now, that's one of the real. That's why I'll tell you another thing for our listeners. I know a lot of our listeners follow, and of course you follow very closely, Pauly. Strategic voting is something that happens on that floor all the time. Yeah. And sometimes people will bring up or not bring up measures depending on how many members are on the floor. And so like a situation with this, I can tell you right now in terms of their commitments, I actually had 9 and maybe 10 votes for this, but the individuals are off island. And I understand they're off island for, very important matters, things that are dealing with either the health of themselves or a loved one. So they're definitely excused, but I would have had 9, maybe 10 votes on this.
I think that's why it initially failed when you first introduced it, right? And on the session, tried to move it to the third reading file, and it wasn't moving forward.
Correct.
And then
that was strategic voting because they knew I didn't have the votes, and they probably just didn't want to vote no when it was in the third reading file. So some ways that some senators with strategy in their mind will go in there and see what it looks like on the floor, and then they'll go, okay, we could try to kill this bill by not letting it go down.
Okay, and so I'm glad that you brought this up because other senators have mentioned when you call for the question, that ends debate, right? And so
right.
You could argue, though, that there was already plenty debate, and so we just need to move forward. Is that why there have been a number of times senators like yourself and Senator Frank Blas Jr. just recently on Bill 250 was not happy with the way things were going because there was debate on whether or not they could continue debate on Bill 250, right? And so it sounded like Senator Frank Blas Jr. said, you know what, forget this, call for the question.
Right. So one thing a couple things. I've talked to a couple prior clerks and even other legal counsels. They believe that, unfortunately, Speaker Talai has done this a couple times where she's made rulings that are not comporting with the rules that we abide by, which are Masons. And so that's why Fisher has had a lot of times where he also has brought this up in terms of rulings on debate, speech and debate on the floor. And so what happened was normally in this case, when you bring up, a vote, go to motions and you bring up a vote to bring the actions of the body back on a measure, the proper way to do that is you go back to the measure, and the only motion that was in the file at that time was to put it in third, and that's not a debatable motion. So it should have been, since I kept winning the votes on reconsideration and putting it down to third, that's all that should have happened. And that's been clarified with others. Now, the reason why in rules of order you have that ability with that motion is it's an anti-filibuster mechanism. Sometimes senators on the floor that just hate a bill, what they'll do is they'll keep amending it. And every time there's an amendment to a bill, they have every member of the body has a chance to talk. And sometimes the speech on that is the same things that they've said. Sometimes they're not even talking about the amendment. They're using the amendment as a way to continue to try to maybe sway public opinion about the bill and things and say all kinds of nasty things about the bill. And so when you have like 2 or 3 rounds of that, in fact, in this legislature coming up, I'm really going to do a lot of parliamentary procedure whether or not amendments are germane to a bill sometimes. Because sometimes it's very sketchy in terms of what they're trying to amend, but it's not really an amendment. Because they know the amendment's going to fail. But what they want to do is just continue ad nauseum to debate the issue that they already know has enough votes to go down. So the mechanism of calling the previous question is a rule of order in Masons, which is what we operate by at the legislature. And that basically allows you to say, look, enough. We've debated this bill. The bill has the votes, and the outcome is not going to change. And you've seen this before, Pauly, where sometimes we go 3 days on one bill. And that's because of this, this type of maneuvering where you're constantly putting amendments into bills in order just to basically hold up the process. That also can be strategic sometimes too, because you might know that somebody's leaving off island. A lot of people put in their notices to the speaker. It's really a formality to say, hey, I'm going to be off island, particularly if you have a committee, because the jurisdiction goes to the vice chair. So you notify so that the vice chair knows that they have control of the committee as well. So a lot of that is strategy. They'll say, hey, let's filibuster until 2 or 3 days because 2 people are going off island. And then this bill might not have the votes if that happens. So you really got to watch strategy on the floor. And some people who just don't want to accept the outcomes of bills will make those maneuvers.
And then back to just 8, right? Because 8 is quorum, right?
8 is quorum. So that means in any situation, boy, man, if a bunch of people were off island. Now, of course, that have to be in coordination with the governor because they can't. All you can do is pass a bill, but the governor would sign it. But on Guam, our people should know the concentration of power in the legislature is very strong, which means 5 members of the legislature at any time can pass any bill.
So with that kind of thinking, are are there any more conversations of, because I know Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas has brought it up, to go back to 21?
I don't know. I mean, it's a great debate, really. I mean, you never know. Somebody might, put in a measure for that. It definitely, it's something for the people to think about on the basis of if it was just strictly that concentration of power. I think what the people of Guam might not want is, I think they want a legislature that's efficient and not bloated, right? So even if you did that, you probably wouldn't get a lot of appetite for a much larger budget. You know what I mean? I think that leading by example, having a lean budget, running the government well at the legislature, if it went to 21, I think the appetite would be, if you go to 21, but don't spend a whole bunch more money because we need this money for schools and police officers and hospitals and different things that our people need. So I think just on that basis, it's a good conversation.
And then, another conversation that people are still having, a number of leaders, too, that I've spoken to, former senators, judges, are saying continue to look at part-time legislation.
Right, and here's something that, once again, for our listeners, there's always kind of this, when you say part-time senators, part-time legislatures, some people think of it as, well, I won't have access to the legislature. I won't have the kind of access that I have to my senators. But the truth is, it's really part-time senators, the way most individuals like Bob Pritzky and others have introduced legislation in the past, that the legislature actually becomes more formal, because in a lot of areas where you have part-time legislatures, the legislative staff become classified staff, so that you have continuity, and they have to have certain qualifications in terms of the ability to really fashion bills and make sure that they're in compliance with proper formatting and stuff like that. So you professionalize the legislature, and you don't have as much turnover between legislatures. And then you have what you call part-time senators, not a part-time legislature. The legislature is always a full-time body, but you basically have maybe a lot less sessions, maybe only 3 sessions a year. Of course, the budget being the number one, that will usually take about a month. But a lot of other part-time legislatures, they only meet if it's emergent. On an emergent issue, they don't have like regularly scheduled, like every month, like we do now. Hopefully, we go to every 2 months with our legislature, because it's too condensed, and you have a hard time marking up bills when you're trying to put them on the agenda so fast. So, it's a great conversation, Pauly. But for our listeners, when it comes down to part-time legislature, it's part-time senators, but not a part-time legislature.
Thanks for clarifying that. Right, so the staff members aren't going to be working part-time either, or
no.
all.
In fact, that's where the bulk of the budget should be, is basically on the operations. But I'm not saying it's not professional now. There's a lot of great people that work there, and if you're a senator, you better have people on your staff that can write bills and that can that understand the process of the reading files and everything else. And kind of, the Bible of the legislature really is the standing rules. So understand all of that, and, understand all of the procedures and how it works. Otherwise you're going to be poorly staffed, right? But what I'm saying is the turnover, right? Because you have continuity. Like if you go to Hawaii, I think Hawaii is a part-time legislature. All those offices, most, if not all, I think there's senators have maybe a couple of selections where maybe they can have 1 or 2 office staff that they select as unclassified. But the rest of those employees are all classified, and they have job descriptions that require the ability to operate a legislature.
That's good news for people with a bachelor's in political science.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I appreciate this. Thanks so much for chiming in. I appreciate the clarity on so much. I got one more, though. And so
sure.
Senator Will Parkinson, the censure, right? What is that? Because I want to stop saying that nothing happens to him if there truly is something more than just reprimanding him. Can he run for senator again? Yeah. What happens with the censorship, censoring him?
Well, and if we look that up real quick, it basically is what we would call a public rebuke. You know what I mean?
That's what I found.
It's a statement from the legislature saying that this is unacceptable behavior, but there's no consequences to it in terms of his ability to run his office.
Yeah.
to do the business of the legislature. And it's going to send Adai with this legislature because all matters send Adai and basically become, non-effective after this legislature is complete. Normally what you would do on this kind of a thing is you'd also have an ethics, complaint. Maybe if it was an ethics complaint, you would have you would convene a board that's also provided for and standing rules on how to handle these matters. But a censure itself is basically, to put it bluntly, it's a public rebuke.
Okay, good, because that's what I found too. I reached out to the director of the legislature. I just haven't got a response back. I just wanted there's still weight on it because your colleagues are, saying that you in fact did this and they do not approve of it. But as far as criminally and whatnot, that nothing like that is headed in that direction, unless maybe.
Yeah, the only time things like that actually become more effective is, say, for example, there was a criminal complaint or things like that, and then ethics is put together. Then that changes the whole ball game, right? But generally, when it's something that is inappropriate in nature and something that is kind of looked upon by the majority as being not in keeping with decorum and with proper procedure and representing the legislature as a branch of government in a professional manner. So that's essentially what it is. But it doesn't debilitate his office at any level.
Thanks for that. I appreciate this, Senator. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I can't imagine the governor not signing Bill 250 when it gets to her, right?
I certainly hope so. I mean, of course, they always have to have their legal review. If they think they might find something, that might need to be tweaked or something. But I don't think so because, we did a lot of work on this bill. We actually sent it back to the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
If you look at the committee report, there was a couple of things I probably could have tightened up on one of the reporting requirements, but they can handle that administratively. Their report coming to us after 31 days can say, we've convened and we're actively looking at the components of the law on how we're going to move forward. But it kind of calls a little bit for some reporting on progress. Of course, there wouldn't be much progress in 31 days. That was designed to basically have a report to the legislature and the governor that we've convened and we're on it, and we'll be getting back to you on reporting on activities and what we're doing and what our needs may be. That could have maybe been a little bit longer time, but other than that, I don't see anything because most, if not all, that was asked for. Definitely on the statutory language, all those changes were made and they were sent back to the agencies and they were approved.
Yeah, and then I guess you're going to go back on December 30th. If the governor vetoes it, there's absolutely no more time to try to override.
Yeah, in this instance, I'll tell you what, Pauly, if there was any compelling reason, I would just reintroduce maybe a cleaner bill. But sure. I have a feeling from all the pronouncements that have been made, particularly from the lieutenant governor, in a number of law enforcement activities that we've had, graduations, promotions, and other things. I know that we had an activity up at the airport where they were basically enacting or making active a lot of the reserve components of police and other components of airport personnel in terms of their volunteers, if you will, but they're deputized. And so he had a really good speech there on how much he thought Malik would make a big difference. If you look at what's happening at Parks and Rec, but Parks and Rec has really stepped it up under Chief Talahi. They're up to, I believe, around 11 officers now. You see a lot of training that they're doing. They're patrolling the park. They've got a couple of officers on that patrol, actually, that went from GPD over there. So they have a really strong law enforcement component there. I know that GBB at one point was what they call the yellow shirts, putting out more security in Tumon. So the Malik component actually has kind of already been underway in terms of augmenting the force in Tumon and in the parks, and we just take it island-wide, right? But so I think that has kind of been the appetite for, what, we need to do this, and there's ways to do it without moving massive numbers of law enforcement. You target it, right, and you do it so that you don't deplete another area, but you put concentrations of enforcement where you need it.
Thanks, Senator. I appreciate this.
You're sure? No, I'm glad you're calling, Pauly, because I think as people understand this more, they're like, oh, okay. Because I can see where some people will go, wait a minute, there's already not enough law enforcement in customs and all these other places, right? And that's true.
Yeah.
But like I said, going back to what this bill does is it mandates in law now. You've got a minimum manning requirement at GPD. If you don't have it, then you've got to do this. But doing this doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to write a letter or I'm going to call up, Chief Fred and say, hey, send 20 officers over. No way, right? That can't happen. But it might mean it says, hey, in the SORT division, I know you got 2 guys that are really, really well trained in interdiction. And all I got to do is deputize them. We're getting reports of different areas where we can go and interdict possible areas where there's drug trafficking, right?
Yeah.
And so that operation sets it up to where you've already got in law the ability to assemble that task force and maybe pull in special forces and different things to maneuver to take care of big operations. And then, of course, recently, once again, Pauly, sorry I'm a little long-winded on this,
No worries.
Recently they had the Christmas celebration down at Skinner Plaza.
Yeah, I was there.
And, I was seeing that they were using Port Police and Airport to kind of, extra security and make sure that they took care of the perimeter and set up well, which is basically a small component of Maui.
Yeah, also fire, unless that was airport fire, I don't know, but they were there as well.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things to where law enforcement guys, like I said, I've met some retired officers and one, on the federal side that's active now. He said, this is very doable and it's the right thing. And the fact that it's a law, really puts a lot of teeth in our policing efforts. So hopefully I'll say another rosary tonight, but I hope the governor, looks at it favorably and signs it into law. We'll appreciate that, I think.
Yeah. The worst is where, although I agree with the intent, then blah, 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 all of these other, this legal language, I hope that doesn't happen because I've seen a number of those letters. I agree with the intent, but these things are the reasons why I can't vote on it. So,
well, the one thing I say to that, Pauly, is then you were a little bit lazy on the floor because if you really wanted to make it better, then you should have proffered amendment.
Yeah.
And if you really, really want to make it better, and you're reelected, then if it becomes law, introduce some tweaks to it that you think would make it better.
Yeah.
But that intention basically sometimes is kind of a veiled way of saying, I really don't like this, but I don't want to say I don't like it. So I'll just say I love the intent, but it's going to be this, and I think there's a little bit of disingenuousness to that.
Understood. I appreciate the conversation, Senator. Once again, looking forward to 38th Guam Legislature. See what you guys
Always
do.
love talking to you, Pauly. I think we'll be talking a lot more because I'm going to be a busy guy. I actually had a meeting at the judiciary yesterday. They had a great presentation to update some new senators and things like that. And it was a really, really good exercise, even though I've known pretty much their operation for a long time. They did a wonderful presentation, and there's a lot of outreach right now by certain agencies, and of course that's our premier third branch of government. So I'm liking a lot of the conversations we're having, a lot of the bringing particularly our senators elect up to speed. And I tell you, they're eager. I tell you, senators elect right now on our side of the house are out there getting information, gathering information, preparing their offices. So I think the people of Guam can be assured that while not perfect, this new legislature certainly is active and ready to do the job.
Nice. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it, and appreciate the fact that we can have these conversations whenever you're available. Because I know like you said, you're going to be busy. So whenever you're available, I'll take it.
Pauly, you and Patti and anyone who's hosting over there, when you give me a call, I'll find a way to make the time because this is what we should be doing. The people of Guam, deserve active transparency, and that is being on with you, and I'm sure you'll get some messages that'll be favorable and unfavorable, and then we can debate those two.
Sure. Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad that you see the importance of it. All right, Senator, take care.
Take care, my friend. Okay. Merry Christmas again, and let's roll the dice.
Viva.
Nice. Viva.
All right, there you go.
Viva.
Senator Chris Duenas.
He's cool. I like him.
Yeah.
I
All right,
like that guy.
7:59 in the morning. Let's take the break. On the other side, I'll give you more information on the the Nenpire, and what, let me just throw it out there now, just so, because we got about, just a few, just in case you get out of your car. I want to let you know that the Nenny Christmas Market is happening this Sunday, December 22nd from 12 to 4 p.m. at GPO near Cinnabon. They're going to have unique crafts, island-inspired Christmas cards, stocking stuffers, live music by local kids, free hot cocoa, and holiday fun for everyone.
Perfect.
It's the Nenny Christmas Market, Sunday, December 22nd from 12 to 4 p.m. at GPO. For your last-minute Christmas shopping. Wow. And these are the kind of Christmas presents I love to give. I just love to give them. 1, you're supporting local. 2, you're supporting these up-and-coming, well, they're not just up-and-coming. They're entrepreneurs. They're nenpreneurs, right? Nennypreneurs, right? And so you're supporting them.
I like that.
And then, just like JA, with their products and their services, there's a story to tell when you give the gift, right? Those are like the best presents to get and the best way to give, right? And like, as you open up this present, I just want to share with you that a 6-year-old here in Guam made this. Right. An 8-year-old.
Yes.
It's
awesome.
Nenny, when you open this from Uncle Pauly, one of your peers, somebody your age made this. Yeah. 801. It just makes it more special, right?
It does.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, we'll take the break. KGUM-FM in Hagåtña, Guam.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The Manhattan DA has just announced additional charges against the suspect in the killing of United Healthcare's CEO.
Luigi Mangione, the defendant, is charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 count of murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism.
Alvin Bragg says Mangione was indicted on 11 counts overall.
This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation.
Mangione is still being held in Pennsylvania, where he was arrested. Police still don't know why a 15-year-old girl opened fire at her Wisconsin school yesterday, killing a teacher and another student. Matt Piper has that.
Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes offered no details about a possible motive, but he says bullying at Abundant Life Christian School would be investigated.
We're talking to students to understand whether bullying was one of those multiple factors.
But he would not go into detail about possible other factors. Besides the 2 deaths, 6 others were wounded, including 2 students who remain in critical condition.
Jim Krasula reports on the latest cutting-edge surgery.
She calls it a new beginning. Tawana Looney is recovering after getting a pig kidney transplant at NYU Langone Medical Center in New York City. The 53-year-old Alabama woman is the 5th American to receive a gene-edited pig organ.
I know anything can happen now, just like on dialysis, but I want to know that I tried.
Looney's kidney was damaged by high blood pressure at the end of a pregnancy in 2016.
Ukraine has taken responsibility for the assassination of Russia's chemical weapons chief. He was killed by a scooter packed with explosives outside an apartment building in Moscow. Haley Ott has more.
Ukrainian security sources told CBS News that the country's security service, the SBU, had carried out the bombing, killing Kirillov in what it called a special operation and calling him a war criminal and a legitimate target because they say he ordered the use of banned chemical weapons in Ukraine.
Many of us are surprised when we see the final charges on some of the things we buy because of all those hidden fees. The FTC has now banned them, as Linda Kenyon reports.
The president says junk fees cost Americans hundreds of dollars each year. They include hidden costs tacked onto ticket sales and hotel rooms. Consumers often don't know about them until they check out. Biden says these fees add up and take real money out of the pockets of Americans.
Consumers stepped up their spending last month. Retail sales indicated the economy is still growing at a healthy pace. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common?
they're yours. And Progressive protects them both. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
U.S. News & World Report has issued its annual list of best vacation spots. Reporter Michael Toscano has a look.
For best places in the world, there's a mix of exotic scenic locales topped by the Swiss Alps, Bora Bora, Rome, Machu Picchu, and Tokyo. In the U.S., national parks are the most popular spots. But the magazine's senior travel editor, Elizabeth Von Terst, tells us there are great cities here to visit for culture and cuisine.
New York City, Washington, D.C., Boston, Honolulu, and Chicago.
Or smaller towns.
Bar Harbor, Maine was our #1 destination there. Telluride, Colorado, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and Sedona, Arizona.
Michael Toscano, CBS News.
A new survey finds Americans have lost confidence in the justice system. The Gallup poll shows that confidence is down 24%. That's far below that of other nations and the lowest in the history of the survey. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Subway is serving up a hot one for a limited time, the all-new Ghost Pepper Bread. Subway's spiciest bread ever turns up the heat on any 6-inch or foot-long. Put the fiery flavor to the test on 3 all-new sandwiches. Number 34, the Spicy Nacho Steak. Dares you to face the heat head-on with shaved steak, smothered in cheddar cheese sauce, jalapenos, and creamy sriracha sauce. Crank up the heat with number 24, the Fiery Meatball. Or set your taste buds ablaze with number 22, the Spicy Nacho Chicken. Then cool down with a double chocolate peppermint foot-long cookie. Here for the holidays only. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Chili's wants to help you celebrate this holiday season with a gift for everyone. Purchase a $50 gift card at Chili's and receive a $10 coupon for yourself. Give a gift, get a gift. At Chili's, great value and memories happen here.
It just works. Wave 105 FM.
All right, welcome back. Mornings with Patty. My name is Pauly Suba, 8:09 in the morning. I just want to mention, because we're getting closer and closer to the 9 o'clock hour, Dave Duane is going to fill in for me in the last hour from 9 to 10. I appreciate it. Last minute.
Right on.
I just have a family engagement that I cannot get out of. So I just need to be with family in that last hour. And so Dave is going to fill in for me, which I really appreciate, right? And he did it in very last minute, so I appreciate that. But so right now, right, we're
Okay.
still trying to figure out. Maybe there are more updates. It's things are coming in pretty fast about the issue that is happening in Madison, Wisconsin, right? Right, the 15-year-old girl allegedly opening fire at her school, at Abundant Life Christian School, killing a fellow student and a teacher. The update that I got was, at first they were saying a student called 911. It was a teacher that called 911, so that's been updated.
Okay.
It's so unfortunate, right, that this continues to happen in America. And then here at home, here in Guam, we get these calls. That's why we have to take them seriously.
Seriously, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And some of them, some of these students that think that it's a joke, they're no longer students of GDOE.
As they shouldn't be.
Right?
Yes.
So definitely a threat. Yeah. Definitely a threat. And it very well could happen here. I mean, the chairperson of Health and Safety of the Guam Education Board, the Angel Sablan, who's also director of Parks and Rec, he has said on the record that it's not if, it's when. And that's why we have to take the right, measures. Right? And that's why also there was money given to GPD so that way they can set up a program where police officers, they'll have the funds to have police officers in the schools, more so high schools,
Okay.
possibly middle schools,
Got you.
but just their presence alone
Nice.
is going to,
Okay.
is going, help in this situation. I can only see that it could help, right? Because again, like what Angel Sablan had said, was it's not if, but when. And that is not a day
God forbid.
that I ever want to wake up to. So there are other threats to our kids, though.
Okay.
And they are happening every day. And they are criminal sexual conduct threats. From adults, from family members. We got to do something about that.
Yes.
From other children. There's a bill that was passed.
All right.
So the bill that was passed, Senator Frank Blas Jr.'s bill, and Senator Joanne Brown. Other senators have been added to it. But Senator Frank Blas Jr., when he was speaking on it, he said it needs to be on record that this is just as much a bill, the main sponsor, just as much as Senator Joanne Brown. Because they got this letter from a parent stating some very alarming things. So the bill aims to establish guidelines for when juveniles accused of crimes can be tried as adults in Guam Superior Court. This is Bill 351, and it passed recently, Monday. So that's going to the governor. It clarifies the exceptions to criminal liability for juveniles and expands the court's authority to certify or transfer cases involving serious offenses such as felonies or homicides to adult court. The bill prioritizes the seriousness of the crime and the juvenile's criminal history when determining jurisdiction, but also considers factors like rehabilitation, potential, and public safety. So when Senator Frank Blas Jr. was closing on the bill, he said that justice may not happen for this child and for this family, but justice will be afforded to others because of it.
Okay.
So the one person that spoke on this bill, and I'm not trying to take away from Senator Frank Blas Jr. and anybody else that spoke on this bill, You please go watch. Please go watch it on YouTube if you haven't watched it yet. But Senator Will Parkinson brings up the letter, brings up things that are in this letter. This is just as alarming, and this needs to be taken just as seriously as when somebody makes threats to schools, whether it's to blow it up or shoot up kids. This bill needs to be taken seriously, and it needs to be passed. It needs to be signed into law. So you would go to, and we're going to cue it up. This is Senator Will Parkinson, but like I mentioned, watch them speak. You can also go to the public hearing on bill number 351-37, regular session December 10. And you can watch all of them speak on this, the ones that do speak on it. Senator Will Parkinson shares what's in this letter from a parent. So we'll play the audio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When a letter from the victim's mother to the senators was sent out, I read it, and I reread it, and I read it again because I could not believe what I was reading. This woman was living the nightmare of every parent. And as a new parent myself, it filled me with a rage to think about how somebody could hurt a little child. I've always been one for restorative justice, but when people hurt children, we should absolutely throw the book at them and use every tool at our disposal to keep our children safe. I'd like to share with you an excerpt from the letter from the parent. I won't share all of it because some of it is very graphic, but it's a part at the end that really stuck with me. He didn't feel guilty the first time, the second time, and not even the third time. No remorse has been shown for my son, not from the perpetrator and not from this law that's put into place. The invitation this case gives to other predators who are minors to prey on young kids as little as they can remember because they think no one will believe a child so young, and when the child finally recalls the incident, it'll be too late. Just like this case with the perpetrator confessing to brutally sexually assaulting my child and getting away with it, if future predators catch the perfect window to commit the same crime, who's to say that they won't? I found out through family that the perpetrator is an education major at UOG and is studying to be an elementary school teacher. I worry for the future safety of his future students, knowing that he sexually assaulted my son and got away with it. He has been empowered by our justice system to do it again. Normally, when someone is charged and confesses to sexual assault, they must be registered as a sex offender. But due to the lack of action by our court, the perpetrator will never have to be identified as a sex offender, allowing him to be in contact with more potential victims. Please protect our children. Please protect our children. That's what this mother's plea was. And it is a plea that I intend to answer. And I stand in full support of this bill. And any bill that will put another layer of protection between our children and these monsters. There are monsters out there. And we must protect ourselves and our family and our community from them with our laws and with our actions. And I hope the actions of this body are unanimous today, that we will not look the other way, that we will give this our full attention, and that we will plug the gaps in our laws so that this does not happen again, that this miscarriage of justice does not happen again. As a parent, this is a worst nightmare, and my heart goes out to that woman and her family. But it is now incumbent on us to do right and fix this mistake. So I stand in full support, and I also to request to be added as a sponsor to this measure.
We can pause that.
Please.
That's on record. So this letter was sent to all the senators. So Senator Frank Bloss Jr. saw it. They all saw it. And you know, we're just gonna play the closing, right?
Goosebumps.
So
all right. Where do you want me to go?
4626. This is Senator Frank Bloss Jr. closing on the bill.
I got you. All right, here we go.
And I want to thank my colleagues for their contribution and their presentation and support of the bill and the work that was done on the bill. You know, Mr. Chair, my co-sponsor to the bill is humble. And I will be remiss if I didn't speak of her insistence, her persistence, almost making sure that we get this bill done. Senator Joanne Brown, she is just as much the main sponsor, she is the main sponsor as I am. I don't want that to go unnoticed, because I'm sure immediately as we got the notification, the letters, I don't know whether she has me on speed dial or not, but she called pretty quick. And I felt the need to be able to work towards drafting the bill. As was mentioned by the speaker, I want to thank the Office of the Attorney General, more specifically the Assistant Attorney General and lead prosecutor for criminal sexual conduct, Ms. Christine Tenorio, my daughter, for also being insistent and for helping and being able to draft the legislation and to making sure that it goes through. To the committee for their arduous work on this, because I know there was struggles with regard to the language as was originally proposed and the language that exists now, so that we can ensure that this is something that will work. Most especially to the families. The two particular, and for purposes of wanting privacy, and it cannot be mentioned, but I'm sure they know who we're talking about. I'm talking about thanking them and the victim for, while justice may not have prevailed for them, justice will prevail because of them. It took a lot, it always takes a lot, for a victim very much just to come forth, recognizing the scrutiny, the anguish, the embarrassment that may come. What was done to them was not right. What this bill provides now is that if it's going to be done again, it will be taken care of. This is the kind of bill that can fill you with emotion and passion and the need for it to happen. I'm just glad that we've got it to where it's at right now. I can hope that not only does it pass unanimously in this House, but it is signed almost immediately by the governor so that we can continue to protect our children. Mind you, that this bill, already if a 14-year-old commits that heinous act and is caught as a 14-year-old, he can be tried. What this bill provides is that if the individual commits this crime as a 14-year-old and think that because he's a 20-year-old now, the court has no longer any jurisdiction on him, and so therefore he can get scot-free, not anymore. There is no statute of limitations on first-degree criminal sexual conduct or homicide, and you will not get away with it. That's the clear message that we're sending. Do not harm our children. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, before I end, I want to make a motion to add co-sponsors to the bill.
There you go. That's good. So there you go, right? So he had said, justice may not prevail for them. However, justice will prevail because of them. Other senators spoke on the difficulty of coming forward. And that's the premise of the bill, right? I mean, if they're like Senator Frank Blas Jr. said, if the perpetrator is 14 and nothing is said from the victim, or 8, 9, 10. Wait, I just better double check with the age. But Senator Frank Blas Jr. just said 14. So I'll just stick to that. Right? Then when they become of age, 19, 20, they might think that they're going to get away with it. But the victim comes out and says, this happened to me, and it happened to me from this other individual. Now, like he said, they will be held liable. There's not going to be a statute of limitations on first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Now, there have been conversations of people saying, you know what, some people make mistakes as a minor. And let's just say they now have kids of their own. They now have a family of their own. They're giving back to the community. And then this allegation comes about. And it shatters their life. Well, that's the reason why there's a court That's why there's a judicial system. You are still innocent until proven guilty. But we have to take people serious when they come forward, especially the victim. And so there has to be an investigation. If it goes to court, it goes to court. We got a lawyer right now calling in, so let's hear what he has to say. Attorney Pete, Hafa Day.
Hafa Day, Pauly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this bill fills a gap, and it's a gap that has existed for a while. And kudos to Christine Tenorio, who I believe is the impetus, the catalyst, really.
Nice.
And that happens a lot. Our Safe Streets Act was because a senator's niece had gotten hit by a drunk driver, and then at the time, our DUI laws were the toughest in the nation. That was back in 1996, I believe. Then we updated it again in 2018. But that's just how these things work. Nobody foresaw the gap that was there. But the reason why I'm calling is, these CSC cases for prosecutor, they're the most difficult case to try to prosecute, right? And God bless Christine for being, this is her passion. That's why she's there at the AG's office. She had left for a little while because things got really, bad. And it was seen that you can't just replace her. You can't just give a CSC case to anybody, right? We had a lot of cases that got botched. The CSC prosecutor, a special victims prosecutor, is a very, very passionate, experienced, highly trained individual, and they have to want to do that job. Absolutely, that's why she's there. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't be there because everybody else left, right? And that's the crux of why I'm calling is because, we need to have more than just Christine. We need to have others that can do the job because we can't burn her out. And she's also, it's got to be, we got to look out for her well-being. It's also very, very taxing on the psychology, right? And we need to have a strong prosecution all around, but especially for CSC victims, criminal sexual conduct victims, because Guam has the highest rate in the nation right now. And we have Christine, but that's it. She's amazing at what she does, but we need more like her, and we can't get more like her because of the toxic mismanagement that's happening since the last administration and got worse during this administration. So, kudos to the legislature for passing this law. Big kudos to Christine for being the impetus for this and for doing what she does day in and day out. She's a very, very talented and strong and passionate prosecutor, and we need more like her, but we just can't get them if we're going to continue with the current leadership up at the AG's office. And that's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you, attorney. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Adios. 8:33 in the morning. We're going to take the break. Yeah. Got another break here on Mornings with Patty. My name is Pauly Suba, filling in for Patti Arroyo. So that bill again, bill number 351, real quick. You want to watch in its entirety some of what others have said on this bill. You would go to the Guam Legislature's YouTube channel, look up December 10, 2024 regular session, and then you can kind of scroll a little bit through that on Bill 351. Let me just double check here. I think they start out with this bill. Yeah, they do. Well, they finish up Bill 332, and then Senator Frank Blas Jr. starts to introduce it for debate around the 3.5-minute mark. All right, 8:34 in the morning. We'll take the break. Wave 105.
Santa's coming in. Things are looking up. Bank Pacific has rolled out Rudolph's favorite My Christmas Loan with an annual percentage rate as low as 5.4% and up to $50,000. And with our Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you have the flexibility of using your money where you want, when you want. My Christmas Loan. Contactless Visa debit card. Let's make Christmas merrier in 24. Equal opportunity lender. Credit conditions apply. 70 years of holiday cheer.
Happy holidays from McDonald's. This is Marcia Azuzu. Christmas brings family and friends together. It helps us appreciate the love in our lives we can often take for granted. May the true meaning of the holiday season fill your heart and home with many blessings. From our McDonald's family to yours, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned, and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question, and you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it, too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas! Well, bless my biscuits. The holidays are here, and KFC's got just what you need to make them finger-licking festive. Our new KFC Holiday Feast, packed with 12 pieces of my world-famous fried chicken, hearty sides, and fluffy biscuits. And here's the kicker. You'll get a glass casserole dish with your KFC Holiday Feast. Hosting a smaller gathering, our 6-piece holiday meal is just as delicious and perfect for cozy celebrations. This holiday season, take a break. Let KFC do the cooking while you enjoy the loving. KFC, it's finger-licking good for the holidays.
Buenas and Hafa Day. Eduquentas is now every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tune in at 105.1 Wave FM to listen to Eduquentas. Eduquentas is a special initiative by Guam Department of Education dedicated to shining the light on the incredible achievements of our students, teachers, and staff. Once again, join us on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wave 105.1, the sound of Guam.
This holiday season, fill your loved one's stockings with a Subway Holiday Gift Card. Receive a free 6-inch sub for every $25 Subway gift card purchase. Promo ends December 31st. Free 6-inch subs are redeemable through January 31st, 2025 only. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Hafa Day. This is Melvin Wampat Borja. I'm the Executive Director from the Commission on Decolonization, and I'd like to invite you to join us every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to noon for Challenge the Status Quo, where we will explore conversations around decolonization, political self-determination, and Guam's political status on Wave 105.1 FM.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Balanced, fair, thoughtful. Wave 105 FM.
This moment, yeah, Christmas time is there.
All right.
'Tis the season to be jolly.
Welcome back. How's your headphones? Dave's hanging out with us. Still nothing?
Oh, it's good.
Okay, good.
Ooh, I
Too
like
loud?
it loud. No, I like
Okay,
it.
me too.
You're perfect.
Me too.
Hey,
I like
Hafa
it.
Day.
Hafa Day. We'll just check the angle. There he is.
Oh, there I am.
All right, Dave
Hey, I'm on
Duenas.
TV.
He's gonna be filling in for me in the last hours since he got here early. He's always prompt. He must be in the Air Force.
That's right.
So he's prompt, and I just wanted to bring him in and get him all nice and warm and cozy, right, to finish off the morning with Patti.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on what's been going on? I'm sure you've been following the legislature.
I follow the legislature. I follow
Yeah.
everything. Current
Yeah.
events on world.
Yeah.
Local.
Yeah.
Everything. And I've been following.
What's
it very
piquing your interest recently?
Well, it's all out. It's out there. You know, what's making the news is still the hospital. It's still the Gura. It's still the 100 million that might be lost. Then, of course, there's what occurred recently with 185 failed to make failed to make the cut. Malik, I heard you had Chris Duenas on earlier.
7 votes, but because there's only 12 of them
Correct.
present, it's still the majority, so it passes.
You know, that was enlightening to me because I thought it failed.
Same.
No, I really did. And then, matter of fact,
Same.
I commented on it on social media. But it was great having Chris on your show. I heard it this morning. And with his detailed information on what it involved, it kind of got me really thinking. I said, okay, because I was like your regular person out there, you know, is going to take away from other law enforcement agencies.
Not just the regular person, right? You had Senator Tello-Taitigui saying that.
Yeah.
And then Senator Chris Barnett was also saying you're taking from the short to give to the short.
Correct. That was my assessment. But because you had him on this morning, he explained it more in detail. I got a better idea of what exactly it's going to do.
Awesome.
And, you know, anything to curb crime, drugs, I'm all for it. So if the Malik bill has a major impact on those crimes that are being committed and the drugs that are rampant on our island, then by all means, I'm for it.
You know what I've been tracking?
How about?
I've been tracking PPP.
Well, how dare you?
So, you know, people are talking about TikTok, right? And it's going to be banned.
There's been talk about that for quite a while.
President Trump is saying, we'll look into it. I might save it. I might not. We'll see. President Biden signed it into law to ban it. And so that's why it is what it is. And so, the ban could happen on January 19th. I like it still because I'm getting reactions from a number of people. And then I also fact check it. Okay, so
and you should.
There's somebody that is very vocal about these PPPs. PPP is the Paycheck Protection Program, right? And so they shared a website, and I already put it on the Wave 105 YouTube channel. I put the link down. I'm not going to share the details, but it's got plenty details. It's basically a database. It's on projects.propublica.org. And whether you like this or not, it might also feel very, it definitely does share some information. And you might feel like your privacy has been exposed, but it's available. So the data comes from the Small Business Administration. It includes lender-approved loans under the Paycheck Protection Program as of June 1st, 2021. And if you punch in the zip code, you'll find who applied and for how much. And the date it was approved, and you can go peruse it all you want. I was looking at it for at least 2 hours last night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it will tell you what bank lent them the money, how much loan was given to them, how much was forgiven. there's a few of them that are still pending forgiveness. Still pending forgiveness. So I put the link on our Wave YouTube. You can check it out for yourself. Punch in a zip code and Guam zip codes come up. It'll tell you what they used it for. And they obviously used it for payroll. Remember, this was a time where we all were wondering what the heck's going to happen. Our economy, our businesses shut down, right? Mm-hmm. And so we needed to pay people. And so, again, this was to keep your business open and keep your people employed. There are business names. There are individual names, too. And again, I don't think I need to. I don't need to say it on the air, but there are about 100 loans and the information provided on these loans, business names and individual names of about 100 loans just on 96910. So your information is out there. Your information is out there, and I just want to direct you to where the information is out there. Projects.propublica.org. I put the link on the YouTube channel. And I found it on TikTok. And so now I'm like, this is probably why Congress wants to take it down. They're exposing us.
I wasn't aware that President Biden,
he signed it into law.
Did. Isn't there a stipulation that
they have to sell it?
There you go. That's what I was getting at.
They could sell TikTok, but China's not going to sell ByteDance, which is the algorithm in TikTok that I love so much.
Who do you think?
I don't think I would have found this website if it wasn't for TikTok.
I have a hunch. Who, if it's up for sale, who might buy it?
There are names.
Well, one comes to
Disney is a name that could buy it. Facebook,
the richest man in the world.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
That's right. That's
so, President Trump said that's what he doesn't want to happen. He doesn't want a monopoly. So he is concerned, about shutting this down. It causes more of a monopoly, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, this information here looks legit. There's no way that they just made up all these numbers and data. They tell you about where the data came from. It came from the Small Business Administration. All they did was organize it and put it, make it available and make it very easy to find. And you can track it just based on the zip code. And so even when you look at it, it'll tell you how much, like how the territories and states, there's just a few of businesses in Guam that received between $1 and $2 million in PPP. Most of them are somewhere under $10,000. Yeah, but they're here.
Fantastic. Yeah. I did read something. I wanted to bring it up with you because you're probably better at pronouncing these names. I'm talking about the Guam Business Magazine Executive of the Year awards that are coming up for 2024.
Oh yeah, that's with the Guam Business Magazine.
Yeah, Guam Business Magazine Executive of the Year.
That's our umbrella.
Yes. And I do recognize some of the names.
Okay.
Some I don't, but
hey, thanks for bringing that up.
I was reading it this morning, and I said, okay, I'm going to mention it.
Okay.
But at the same token, I said, I'm going to slaughter their last names and their names.
Okay, who are we looking at?
We're looking at Joe C. Guerrero.
Yeah.
Ho S. E-U-N. Ewan? I don't know how you pronounce that. Tamio Tom Clark. Michael A. Titano.
Tamio Tom Clark, yeah. Principal broker of Blue Pacific Realty. Ho Yun. Ho Yun is the founder and chairman of Cortec.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we got familiar names that I know. One of them is Paul A. Cowell.
Yes.
I met him and his lovely wife, now Senator-elect.
Senator, yeah.
Shelley Cowell, Craig Wade, and lastly, Mr. Kim Anderson Young.
Oh, that's a woman, president of Security Title Incorporated.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Kim
Yeah,
Young.
you know, we got to give kudos to these folks. You know, they are the forerunners in business
Yeah.
here in Guam. So, good luck to all of you, and it's great.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, are you going to MC it?
I might be there. I
Yeah.
think so.
I think you did it last
I
year.
did it
didn't you?
last year.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah.
Sure do remember that. That was
It's
fun.
fun.
It
It's
was
a lot
good.
of fun. My favorite part is when they do the talent show.
Yes,
It's
I
so
remember that.
entertaining.
It was.
So entertaining.
I definitely attended. It gave me a chance to get dressed up, which
Sure, yeah.
I rarely do.
Yeah.
You know, I only get dressed up with the best duds that I have during these type of events, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really great. What? Again, you know, what's your take on this 100 million? You know, the ARPA funds. the
I don't
remaining.
want to lose it. That's my take.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose it.
I was trying to. I read it. You know what it could be used for. I got a text message from a person that was trying to educate me on it.
Okay.
It said it's not that easy. You can't just if in lieu of losing it.
Yeah.
I said, why don't we give it to DOC?
What they say? It's too late, right? We don't have enough time.
You know, I was reading on it and reading on the topic, and it can be used for certain things. You mentioned it in your show this morning. I mean, on the show this morning, what categories that could be.
Oh,
those
yeah,
funds.
projects.
Yes, and one of them was public safety, and it got me thinking real quick. I said, public safety, wouldn't DOC fall under that?
Can be.
So
there's
and-
no doubt that they can use money. Gura can use money, right?
Mhm.
For DOC, they've used money to build police stations and schools.
Yeah. So with the deadline approaching real quick, either obligated to a certain thing, and DOC, I know Fred Berdaliu, the director of DOC, I believe he already has a plan. I believe, not 100% sure on that, but it would if it would include a written MOU type thing, you know, it could be. And again, I apologize to the listeners. I'm not 100%, but my take on it was if we're going to lose it, do what we can, whatever the legal minds out there, determine how can it be redirected either to GMH, the current hospital,
Yeah.
who's in dire need, of course, always need of money and repair, and DOC, as you know, and I know, they're being sued.
Yeah. In this session, they were at least able to get $1 million that
Correct.
they took from the 5.
Correct.
That was supposed to go towards like their little trust fund to build a new facility.
Correct.
So now they only have $4 million. $1 million is going to go to the current facility.
Mhm.
That's clearly not even enough, just based on hearing what Major Mary Helen Lizama had said. They needed the 5. But there's still the worry that now we're starting back to zero with any money set aside for a new facility,
Mhm.
right? So at least they still have the 4. But we definitely do need to start that up. We need to, sooner than later. And even if it is that Butlerton facility that the AG wants to do, then do that. Something needs to be put up.
Something, yeah. And, again, in reference to the 100 million and the possibility that it could be lost, we don't know for sure yet. I just was thinking outside the box. I say, hey, if it's possible, if they have time, they're saying, I'm hearing that there's not enough time.
Yeah, there's
But-
from the administration and from Gura, there's not enough time. And that's why the Gura board said that's why they have to move pretty fast. Somebody's on the line or no?
He'll call back.
Okay, go for it, Dave.
Yeah, and I have heard, as you have, that there's not enough time, and that's being said by the administration and Gura. But I kind of take that with a grain of
Sure.
salt.
Sure.
If there's plans already in place, for example, using DOC as an example, if they have plans and MOU ready to go, maybe it could be just as simple as redirecting it. But, it's $100 million. I say share the wealth. if it's possible, if we have enough
They
time.
shared the wealth already. They had 300 million.
They did.
And
Well,
they took 200 for other priorities, right? Other issues on the island, yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
because there's talk about, well, we can't use the money for certain things.
Sure.
Then I think it was one of the senators that brought it up. Where did the 100 million, the 200 million that is no longer in the opera fund, it used to be 300 plus, now it's 100 million remaining. Who was the recipient of the 200 million, the 100 million each time that the governor had obligated it, redirected those funds somewhere else? Do you know?
So what was brought up was the credit card fees and whatnot, right?
I remember
So
that.
some of the monies has gone towards that. Other agencies have gone it. GMH has gotten some monies as well for what they needed to get done. So ARPA monies have been spread around.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, again, I guess what I'm trying to allude to is if that could be done, then why can't they do it with the remaining if the possibility of being returned to the feds, to the Treasury? We don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. We could use the money. We are short in money. Recently, it was brought out in the news, Governor Guam is in the deficit.
Yeah, $5 million, negative
Yes.
$5 million.
And
Because we just started fiscal year.
Correct.
October, November, 3 months in.
And, real quick, we have enough time. This bill, I think it was Roy Quinata.
Okay.
That brought it up.
Condemning the land?
Yes.
Yes.
And paying.
And we're going to pay Mr. Duenas the money.
Yes. And then it was amended, I think, to include all.
No, just him.
Oh, just him.
Just him, but they brought up
There you go.
the fact that there are many more
Yes.
private landowners, and we access their land every day
Yes.
on Route 4.
Correct.
And so what was brought up at the public hearing from some of the agency leaders, right, from land management and even DPW, was, well, why haven't we paid Mr. Duenas yet? It's been about 40 years. Well, if we pay Mr. Duenas, we're going to have to pay them all.
Lame excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, being that we're in the $5 million in the deficit, and heaven knows if it's going to increase, a surplus like we've had almost all through 2024, almost every quarter we had millions of dollars in surplus funds. Is that going to be the case in 2025?
I think so, but time's
hope so.
running out because of the military buildup. I think we're going to start seeing some excess, but that's not going to last forever. Maybe 1 or 2 more years of that. 2029, we're definitely going to see a dip.
Well, in my looking at it, there's going to be, we had a 1.3, 1.7, depending who you ask.
Yeah.
In record budget for 2025. 2025. I don't believe that's going to continue. That was due mainly to Mawar money coming in, pandemic money coming in, military buildup. That's all going to slow down eventually. And are we going to continue to receive record revenues? I don't believe we.
Yeah, and that's why there's a priority from our lawmakers and our leaders like the governor, right, to get tourism back up and running. And they definitely need to assist there. John's on the line. I got to run too. So, John, you got the last 2 minutes, my friend, and then we're going to spend that last hour with Dave.
How about John? Hi, John.
Okay, never mind. John, call back on the other side of the CBS News. But yeah, so what's your take, since we do have about 2 minutes, what's your take on what do you think we need to do with tourism to get that back up? And because the concept is low investment, high value.
First and foremost, clean the island.
Yeah.
Clean the island. Second, more attractions. We barely have enough attractions for our locals, let alone our tourists. And focus on the culture, the history of our beautiful island of Guam. We do, in fact, live in paradise. Unfortunately, some people just have a tendency to want to trash.
Yeah.
And that's been my biggest pet peeve for
Right.
years. The cleanliness of our island. when I look around, and you see it, I see it all the time when I travel on the airline. You see these nice promotional videos of Guam, and I say, they're not showing the whole picture. They're not. They're showing the best, the nicest places.
Sure.
But they're not showing the junk cars on the side of the road, illegal dump sites, the graffitis. Anyway,
to be fair, that happens a lot in every city, right? I mean,
it does.
They're not going to show you the slums of New York City.
No.
They're not going to share with you the slums of Japan or the many homeless people in Japan in Tokyo. So, I mean, we're not the only ones that don't do that.
Very, very, very true. Good point, Pauly.
Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, looking forward to...
Okay. Yes, don't go anywhere, friends, audience, because Dave's going to take over. He's going to be in the main seat. I really appreciate it. 9 o'clock on the dot. We are KGUM FM in Hagåtña, Guam.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. A New York jury has indicted Luigi Mangione in the killing of United Healthcare CEO, legal analyst Lori Levinson.
This indictment is particularly interesting because it has many counts, 11 counts, and the first one focuses on first-degree murder. New York is charging first-degree murder because they say that this murder was an act of terrorism.
Under New York law, that charge can be brought when an alleged crime is intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
There is no heroism in what Mangione did. This was a senseless act of violence. It was a cold and calculated crime that stole a life and put New Yorkers at risk.
Mangione is still being held in Pennsylvania. There will be an extradition hearing tomorrow. A New York architect accused in a string of murders has now been charged with another, as Carolyn Gussoff reports.
A seventh murder pinned on Rex Heuermann, who spoke in court for the first time. Your Honor, he said, I'm not guilty of any of these crimes. The 61-year-old Massapequa architect is allegedly linked to the murder of 24-year-old Valerie Mack of New Jersey by DNA.
The investigation into the Gilgo Beach killings dates back to 2010 when police searching for a missing woman found 10 sets of human remains. More high-profile visitors are traveling to Florida to see President-elect Trump. CBS's Libby Cathy is also in West Palm Beach.
Everyone seems to be coming down to Mar-a-Lago and kissing the ring, for lack of a better phrase. Netflix's CEO, ahead of Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos being set to visit Mar-a-Lago this week. That also comes ahead of a planned donation by Amazon for $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund.
Ukraine has admitted to assassinating Russia's chemical weapons chief. At the Pentagon, spokesman Pat Ryder.
We were not aware of this operation in advance. We do not support or enable those kinds of activities.
The Russian general was killed by a bomb hidden in a scooter outside his apartment building in Moscow. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu entered Syria today on a security tour of the buffer zone. The first time a sitting Israeli leader has entered Syrian territory. Linda Gradstein reports there may be progress on another front, Gaza.
Several Arabic media outlets cited Palestinian sources that there has been a breakthrough in ceasefire talks after 14 months, and that a deal could be signed in the next few days.
A group of Palestinians in Gaza has filed a lawsuit accusing the State Department of giving Israel a pass when it comes to a U.S. law meant to limit military aid over human rights abuses. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the famous footwear that everyone has on their holiday wish list. So don't wait to make it famous. Whether you're searching for their favorite character shoes or the hottest sneakers, slippers, and boots, Famous Footwear has the newest styles from Nike, Adidas, Crocs, Converse, New Balance, Birkenstock, Timberland, and more. Unwrap Famous today and make everyone's holidays merry with buy one, get one half off at your local Famous Footwear or famous.com. Some exclusions apply.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
There's new trouble for the Russian woman accused of stowing away on a Delta flight from New York to Paris last month. Here's CBS's Steve Kathan.
Officials say Svetlana Dali cut off her ankle monitor and got on a Greyhound bus in Buffalo headed for Canada. She's now in FBI custody. Dali, a U.S. permanent resident and Russian national, was previously charged with one count of being a stowaway on an aircraft. She was released without paying bail, but had a long list of conditions, including not traveling outside a designated area. She was staying with a roommate in Buffalo who reported her missing when the ankle monitor was found on the floor. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
U.S. News & World Report's out with its annual list of best vacation spots. Tops on the list, the Swiss Alps and Bora Bora. And the top destinations in the U.S. include Bar Harbor, Maine, and Telluride, Colorado. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Happy holidays from Wave 105 FM. Stay tuned, and when prompted, be the first to answer our stocking stuffer trivia question, and you get to choose a stocking. Best part is you get to take home whatever's inside it, too. Stay tuned and win big this holiday season. Your Wave 105 stocking stuffers are brought to you by Burger King, Lotte Hotel, TGI Fridays, the Guam Reef Hotel, KFC, the Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, Manang Picas, and the station bringing you the holiday sound of Guam, Wave 105 FM.
Merry Christmas!
Chili's wants to help you celebrate this holiday season with a gift for everyone. Purchase a $50 gift card at Chili's and receive a $10 coupon for yourself. Give a gift, get a gift. At Chili's, great value and memories happen here.
Here for the community. Wave 105 FM.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Good morning.
Right,
Good morning, Dice.
All right, comfy and you look great. Good morning, Mr. Duenas. Hafa day, sir.
Thank you. And thank you to you, Pauly, and Patty. For, I'm sitting in for Pauly, who's sitting in for Patty. And
always great to
musical
have you.
chairs, huh?
Sounds good to me.
Happy holidays.
Yes, indeed. Happy holidays, sir. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good as can be, I guess.
That
looking
works
forward,
for us. That works for
looking
us.
forward to getting this 1 hour done and maybe heading out and looking for a nice breakfast somewhere. But it is the holidays, and I bring that up purposely because, I want people to understand and realize that we got some sakis out there, Steelers, When you're out and about doing your Christmas shopping, and many of us are, and, it's a good idea when you come out from shopping and you got all your packages and gifts that you purchase, put them in a safe location in your vehicle, especially if you're going back in the shop to continue shopping. Put it in your trunk, put it under your seat, know your surroundings, make sure there's no one following you, and the best thing is, park in a lighted area. Just be careful. It's happened. It's happened before, people, the sakis out there, they don't care. They'll steal the gifts under your tree at your home. Yes. So, and you got security cameras like most of us do. They don't care. They look at the camera, smile, and continue doing what they're doing. Unfortunate, but that's the truth. Lots of stuff in the news. First and foremost, I want to wish, and every time I do a show here, I love doing it, someone out there, Dice, is celebrating a birthday.
All right.
Somebody. Indeed. Or an anniversary.
Okay.
Or what have you. All right. So I'll always take the time to say happy birthday to you. Oh. Happy birthday. Happy anniversary to each and every one of you. I know my primo, he's celebrating a birthday today, Mr. Manuel Choco.
All right.
Happy birthday, Manuel.
Happy birthday.
And again, for those of you celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. I just got to say that. I really do.
Right? Happy birthday, guys.
Yes, it's a special day for, and for me nowadays, it's just another day. When you get a certain age, it's just, it's like, hey, let's have a party, a barbecue, whatever. I said, no, it's just another day. I got you. It gets that way, unfortunately, when you get older. I remember when I was young, you look forward to birthday because that means I'm getting a gift. Okay. And great stuff. Nice. Anyway, what's on? A lot of stuff making the news, and Pauly and I touched on it briefly. He talked about it on his show this morning, and I'm talking about everything from the ARP funds, $100 million that is still remaining, and there's talk that because of what's happening with the Manila location for the new hospital, and I'm assuming the pending court case, because of the legal opinion that our AG Doug Moylan had put out there, saying that what occurred at Gura, as far as the eminent domain and the trying to purchase properties from landowners that have adjacent properties next to where the governor wants to build her new hospital complex, that it might go through the judicial system. It might go to courts. Would that put a delay in utilizing the $100 million remaining in the ARPA funds? It very well could. So that's a big concern. We do not, Guam, in my opinion, cannot afford to give back $100 million. We could use it big time. And I alluded to the fact that if we can, somehow, I don't know if it's possible, I'm being told it's not as easy as you think, if the possibility of losing it, to redirect some of that $100 million, maybe 50-50, 50 to GMH, so we can continue to repair and keep our current hospital running efficiently for the people of Guam. We all go there for health care when we need to, and then, of course, there's Department of Corrections. We have a lawsuit that has been filed on behalf of an inmate who's alleging inhumane conditions at the at the prison. Mm-hmm. And would $100 million or $50 million, half of that, be useful to repair or do whatever they have to get the prison DOC to a standard that is conducive of the requirements of what, just because you're incarcerated and locked up at DOC doesn't mean that you have to live under those alleged conditions. And I've heard the conditions, and it just sounds really, really bad. Sleeping on the floors, no air conditioning, 6, 7 people in a cell that was designed for 2 inmates. It's just crazy. It really is. So, again, long story short, if we're going to lose to $100 million, somehow, some way, I don't know how, or even if it's possible, use the money to fix the hospital. Keep that hospital, GMH, our only public hospital, keep it running efficiently and providing the health care. Which brings up another topic, the Northern Public Health. It's still closed.
Okay.
And it was closed down. Everyone knows. I didn't make this up.
Okay.
It was closed down, Dice.
All right.
Because of an electrical fire in the electrical panel fire. And it was closed down, and it's been closed down since that day.
Okay.
Then we have the Southern Regional Medical Center in the south.
All right.
That is totally underutilized. So I'm saying, that might be another thing. Utilize the remaining $100 million. Maybe they can give some to get more staff at the Southern Regional Medical Facilities and do whatever repairs and renovations that need to. It's been said by public health officials that they would love to have the Manila Public Health building that's been abandoned and closed for I don't know exactly, maybe about a year or two now, but get that up and running. If those 2 facilities, Southern Regional and the Manila facility, public health, are reopened, it would definitely benefit the community. It really would. So, and it would take a load off GMH that we all go to, because that's the only place we can go to besides GMRC and Naval Hospital, of course. But again, just thinking outside the box. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We do have our elected leaders, our governors, our senators, and they come up with the best bills and ideas that they possibly can. But it's you, the people of Guam. You might just very well have the answer or provide a suggestion that might work. And, basically, your input could be the answer to the current situations that we see in our island. Lights, we do have a caller?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Here we go. Line 1.
Line 1. John. Hi, John. Good morning. Buenas.
Uncle Dave. Good morning.
Up a day, nephew.
Uncle Dave, nice talking to you. Happy holidays to everybody.
Yes, thank you.
So I want to talk about the health centers, because I think it's a discussion that I love that you're talking about it.
Yes.
Because my mom's been on the health center board since almost the inception of the health center. And we have strategically, the reason why there's 3 health centers in the areas that they're at is because it's there to service the underserved communities. These health centers this is why reopening the public health facility in Manila is such an important dynamic, because those who are underserved were getting served there. Now they're forced to drive up to Delito. They're forced to drive down to the south. And the community, and Manila and Barragata have expanded so tremendously because of the economic boom up there, right? And when I talk about the economic boom, I'm not talking about the hospital that they're talking about building up there. The economic boom is the expansion of UOG, the continued expansion of GCC with those facilities, right? Because it's driving people to move to Barragata, Manila, Chalampago. So all these residents that are moving there need a place to get health care. AMC's up there. So when we look at the health centers not operating, solving the problem is not just building a hospital. Solving the problem is getting people health care right as soon as possible. The health centers, it should be a standalone entity. Those health centers get federal grants that are supposed to sustain itself. So if those federal grants are supposed to specifically sustain the health center, the health centers, why are we not using those federal grants to reopen Manila, to boost up the Southern Health Center, to attract doctors? Because of these federal grants and the way that they're tied, we can literally use that to attract doctors to say, hey, come and work in our health center. Come and work in our health center. But you know what's happening?
Yeah,
people within the system are reallocating these doctors who are supposed to be put in these health centers, and they're moving them to work in other divisions of public health. Move these systems, move these doctors, and move the system for the health centers out of public health, put them under the medical side, which is GMH, and let GMH handle the whole health centers, the health centers and the hospital as a whole, so we can laterally move the doctors and nurses as needed to keep these health centers operational, so we can get our people service as needed.
Excellent points, Jonathan. I wholeheartedly agree. You know, do we need the Manila facility in the Southern Regional up and running at full speed, providing the health care to our constituents out there? Absolutely, yes. You know, and the points that you brought out are very valid. Thank you for your input.
Thank you, Uncle Dave. You guys have happy holidays.
You too, sir. You stay safe. And again, you know, healthcare. You know, what are the three main things? Healthcare, public safety, and education. I'm just going to tell it like it is. We're failing in all of those categories. And don't shoot the messenger. I didn't make it up. It's been reported. It's no secret. Our schools are in bad shape. Healthcare, GMH is hanging on. Kudos to the workers at GMH. Dedicated, hard-working staff. Very, very much so. And I give kudos to them because they have a tough job. Having to work in a facility that is falling apart, having to have millions of dollars infused into their budget, and they still need money. This last budget hearing, every agency, as far as I know, GMA, Public Health, Public Safety, and every other agency in between have been underfunded. And I can't see why. We had a record $1.3 billion, record high revenues for Guam. There was a time not too long ago, years ago, maybe a decade or two, the budget of Guam was a mere $400 million at one point. Now we got $1.3 billion. It's like, whoa, a lot of money, lots of money. I did write some notes down that I wanted to touch on, and one of them, and again, Pauly brought it up on the show earlier, this censorship of one of the sitting senators, Will Parkinson. It did pass during the 8 o'clock session that occurred a day or so ago. And, every day I read the paper or look at it online, all you hear and read about is that issue with Parkinson, the censorship, the $100 million in ARPA funds. But again, getting back to the Will Parkinson issue with the hand gesture and the censorship that did pass through a resolution, I just kept shaking my head and said, this all could have been avoided, 100%. All it would have taken was a very simple, I apologize, Senator Joanne Brown, who the gesture was directed towards, and to continue to deny it ever happened or didn't happen, or they misconstrued what I was doing. Kind of hard to defend that when you had a whole gallery of mayors there. The Mayor's Council was there for whatever they were there for, but they all saw it. And again, I'm just pointing out that though the censorship did pass through a resolution just a day or so ago, it might not be. It could be still an opportunity for the good Senator Parkinson to finally just say, okay, enough. I apologize. And it has to be a sincere one. You know, he did make reference during the discussion on that resolution to censor him that he was going to recuse himself from voting on that particular resolution because he wasn't afforded due process or whatever the exact words were. But I for one, I just say, just apologize. My goodness. If you did it, man up to it. You know, I've learned in life, you make a mistake. You make a grave mistake, really bad error in judgment. Own up to it and apologize, whoever it may be. I went as far as looked it up. I looked it up on Google. I said, okay, what does owning up to your mistakes mean? And it basically said, you know, you probably did something wrong, normally to management or maybe to a colleague. And it used the actual word colleague. I said, well, that applied. What happened? Anyway, enough of that. Senator Parkinson, might not be too late. Well, you already got censored. It passed. But might not be too late, you know. Just apologize. That would work. I guarantee people would look at that and look at you, and this issue of the hand gesture would be history, and that would be it. No more. Move on to bigger and better things, and we do have a lot of things that we could do better. You know, lots. One of my biggest pet peeves, and it still continues to be, is the roads of Guam. I just can't get myself to stop thinking about it or talking about it. Why? Because I drive the roads like you do. And pothole written, you know, markers not there. I can't tell what lane I'm on, especially during a heavy downpour. Is it dangerous to you, the commuters? Absolutely. And, you know, we do get funding from the feds, highway funds, but they're specifically used for the main roads, meaning Marine Corps Drive. Those funds, the federal highway funds, are not designed to be utilized for secondary roads, and that's the roads that most of us travel, you know, in our villages. I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again because I can, and I will. I live in Dedido. The only road in Dedido that's really good is White Sing Song. That's it, White Sing Song Road. It's about a mile and a half stretch. Totally. Markers galore, smooth as heck. And then as soon as you make a left or right to go inside to the secondary roads in the inner village, it's giant potholes. I'm not exaggerating. I should take a picture of it. Big time potholes all over the place. I feel for my vehicle, and I've had to change my struts, shocks every now and then. Have you? I'm sure you have. You know, it takes beating. Our vehicles take a beating with the conditions of our roads. And we're not asking much. We, the people of Guam, are not asking much. We just want, if you're not going to fix the darn roads, at least put some reflectors, markers, so we know where we're going. I am literally in panic when I'm driving in the village of Jigo, and on a heavy downpour, I am, you know, I can't tell what lane I'm on. And sometimes I said, boy, I'm going to get into a wreck. And if I do, guess what? I'm going to sue somebody. I'm going to sue DPW. I'm going to sue the government, whoever. I'll talk to a lawyer, see what happens there. But if I get injured or a family member gets injured because a lack of maintenance of our roadways of Guam, you should do that. I would strongly recommend, even your vehicle, as little as if your vehicle get damaged, file a claim. It might take forever to get any compensation, but at least file a claim. Am I ranting about this? Yes, I am. Because something's got to change. Something has got to change. 29 minutes after the hour. Again, I'm Dave Duenas. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting in for Pauly, who's sitting in for Patty on the Mornings with Patty, and our beautiful producer, Dicey Dice.
Half a day, sir.
Hi, we going to take a break?
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's do it.
Well, bless my biscuits. The holidays are here, and KFC's got just what you need to make them finger-licking festive. Our new KFC Holiday Feast, packed with 12 pieces of my world-famous fried chicken, hearty sides, and fluffy biscuits. And here's the kicker. You'll get a glass casserole dish with your KFC Holiday Feast. Hosting a smaller gathering, our 6-piece holiday meal is just as delicious and perfect for cozy celebrations. This holiday season, take a break. Let KFC do the cooking while you enjoy the loving. KFC, it's finger-licking good for the holidays.
Looking for an exciting career? We have fantastic opportunities for you. Join our team and work at leading brands like Coca-Cola, Subway, Chili's Grill and Bar, Cinnabon, Glimpses of Guam, and Good to Go. Whether you're interested in customer service, management, or marketing, we have roles that fit your passion. Visit www.glimpsesofguam.com to explore career openings and start your journey with us today.
Hungry for a big meal? Meet your match with Chili's Bundles. With 3 bundles to choose from. Each bundle delivers big on all the flavors you crave, starting at $30. The Tex-Mix Bundle features flavors from south of the border entrees like the brisket quesadilla or the Chipotle Fresh Mix Bowl and tacos. Indulge in the classic bundle of the humongous Bacon Rancher Burger and Fajita Combo. Got a bigger appetite? Then go for the Premium Bundle with a half rack of ribs and honey Chipotle shrimp and steak. Plus, all bundles come with our chips and salsa to get the party started. At Chili's, more life and delicious bundles happen here.
It's here! A fuel-tastic deal from Mobile and Don Don Donkey that guarantees to make you smile.
Fuel up with a minimum $30 fuel purchase at Mobile and get $3 off your next $30 purchase at Don Don Donkey.
But that's not all. Spend $30 at Donkey and enjoy $3 off your next $30 fuel purchase at Mobile.
Register your Smiles card today for double the savings, double the rewards. Fuel up and save with Mobile and Don Don Donkey.
Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Happy holidays from Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Gift certificates available for the perfect present. Visit us today and spread the cheer. Come in and make your holiday brighter with Pat's Tinting and Detailing. Call 647-SLAM for more information.
Santa's coming in. Things are looking up. Bank Pacific has rolled out Rudolph's favorite My Christmas Loan with an annual percentage rate as low as 5.4% and up to $50,000. And with our Bank Pacific Visa debit card, you have the flexibility of using your money where you want, when you want. My Christmas Loan. Contactless Visa debit card. Let's make Christmas merrier in 24. Equal opportunity lender. Credit conditions apply. 70 years of holiday cheer.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Talk the way it should be. Wave 105 FM.
And welcome back. Welcome back. Having a good time.
Indeed, sir.
You know, during the break,
Yes, sir.
we had some input. People on YouTube. You know, we are on YouTube, and they were relating to what I was discussing earlier before the break about the roads of Guam, and some of the input I was getting that you're right, Dave. I live in Tumuning, and one of the roadways in front of one of the schools, I forgot which one it was. Unfortunately, I apologize for that, but same thing. In front of the school, the roads are really nice and marked and smooth, and then as soon as you go off that road, it's back to normal. It's like, okay. But, Dice, I just have a tendency to just say what's on my mind.
Thank you, sir.
As long as I don't use vulgar language.
Yeah, we're good.
Can't do that. Can't do that. FCC will say, hey.
We appreciate you,
We heard
sir.
you. But, I have a tendency to say what's on my mind, and I tell it just exactly like it is. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. Everything I've talked about, I didn't make up. It's in the news. It's being reported. Everything. And speaking of that, welcome back to the show again. I'm Dave Duenas, sitting in for Pauly, who's sitting in for Patty. On the mornings with Patty. It's always great. Doing a show for Patty, cool. I would love to do. I'd do her show anytime. Over the dinner table or what have you.
No, go for it.
A friend of mine, I saw him yesterday. He said, Dave, are you still doing radio? I said, yeah, every now and then. He goes, hey, why is it Senator Barnett is always creating a problem about the new hospital and the location? And he went on to tell me why he feels that way. Then I said, I explained to him. I said, well, have you heard of the Matrix study? There was a study that was conducted. I'm not sure at this point who initiated that Matrix study, but it was to determine what would be the most viable location for a new hospital. Eagle Field was one of them. Oka Point, Ipao location was one of them, and other locations. And the Matrix study came out and said Ipao would be the most viable. Why? Because infrastructure is there. Clinics are all there. Doctors' offices are all there. He goes, really? I didn't even know anything about the Matrix study. So what I'm basically saying is, though we hear about it, some people are just not versed in all the details of how that came out to be. I know about the Eagles bill, the deal that the governor had made with the Admiral, with the military, to initially build it there. That didn't go through, and there was many issues that prevented that from happening. Number one, the Admiral had put a deadline. He actually said, you either sign the deal within 2 weeks or the deal's off. Then there was controversy about that property should go back to the original landowners, which I agree. It was at one point supposedly said by the military it was excess property that they were planning to give back. Somehow it got redirected to being used for the location for a new hospital. That didn't work out. Information that was requested by the legislature, unfortunately, supposedly, was not given. So that created some controversy and some issues. Long story short, that whole Eagle Bill thing fell through, and the Admiral stuck to his gun. He put a deadline on it, and we didn't meet it. So Eagles Bill is off the table. But then again, that's that. The Matrix definitely says that it should be in Tumuning. Personally, and I get criticized every now and then from certain people that, why are you against the Manila? I said, I'm not. It's just that I kind of reference my decision. The guidance that I use is the Matrix study, the health professionals, and I listen to those, and I come up with, yes, I agree that Tumuning would be the better location because of the fact the clinics, the medical professionals are all there. The infrastructure is definitely there. And it was brought out by many folks that chime in on the issue. Just the infrastructure at the Manila location is going to cost literally hundreds of millions. Just the infrastructure. We cannot begin to erect and construct a new hospital in that location until the infrastructure is in place. So that's going to put a delay on the final hospital being built. How long you say it might take to build the new hospital in Manila? Well, there's anywhere from 5 to 10 years. That's 5 to 10 years, people, that our current GMH has to continue to provide health care to the residents of Guam. And just with that to happen, it's going to take a bunch of millions of dollars to be given to GMH, the current GMH, to keep them up to par, up to a standard. And we all know, again, I ain't making this up, the hospital, GMH, is in bad condition. It rains, it pours, you know. It really does. Myself, personally, I'm a veteran, and if I need to go to the clinic, I have my choice. I'm going to GMRC or I'm going to Naval Hospital. It's just my choice. It might not be yours. And if your choice is GMH, by all means. Most of us have no choice. We have to go there. But, you know, for those of us that have choices, I will use and pick the choice that I want. So, there you go. But, bottom line, we need to keep GMH, current GMH, up and running. And it's going to require millions of dollars before a new hospital is going to be built. And the way it's going right now, it ain't going to happen anytime soon. You know, we got the AG that came out with a public opinion, or legal opinion, excuse me, on what's occurring with the Manila location of choice of the administration, and the condemnation and the eminent domain and of the properties adjacent to where the governor wants to build the place, the new hospital complex. And a complex, that's another thing. Medical complex versus just the hospital. Do we need a big old medical complex? No, I don't think so. We need a hospital. No if, and, or but. We need a hospital. When do we need it? As soon as possible. Please. I don't know. My children, your grandchildren are the ones that are going to be the recipients of a new hospital when it is finally built. And I'm all about getting it built as soon as possible. Do I really, Manila out the money? Just get it built. Get it built as soon as possible, please. But do I have a preference? Yes, I do. It's just my preference. It might be different from yours. And that's fine. You're entitled to have your opinion on where you would think it would be. I think it was Senator Fisher. He said, the economic value of having it in Manila outweighs having it in Tumaning. Economic stimulus that it would provide. We can build a Walmart, a Walgreens. I said, no, we're not looking for a Walmart or a Walgreens. We want a hospital. That's it. We don't care about, And then that got me to think, the southern villages of Guam, beautiful southern villages of Guam, Yamatak, Inalahan, Yamatok. Those villages, years ago, I was doing radio at another station, and it dawned on me. I said, why those locations don't have big businesses, franchises, Taco Bell, McDonald's, or what have you. They were provided the opportunity to have those establishments at their beautiful village in the south, but they said, no, thank you, we don't want it. Reason being, they cited some reasons, one of them being, we just don't want the traffic, we don't want the influx of more people coming to our village. It might create more crime, a whole bunch of stuff. With that said, we do have a caller. Frank, buenas, good morning.
Hey, buenas, Steve.
Buenas. Frank.
Hey, how are you? How are you, man?
Hey, happy holidays.
Happy holidays, man. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just hearing you talk about that. I agree with you. With the scarce resources that we have, and everybody knows it. I mean,
sure.
That we don't have unlimited resources here. Do we have any money printer that's printing $100 bills that I don't know about?
No.
Dave, besides what you're saying about it being in Manila, we have to be prudent, huh?
Sure.
Everybody would love to see something like that, if we had unlimited funds. With what's going on and tourism below 50% and everything that's happening, Even with all the money that they're saying with the surplus, it seems that we're not enough. We still don't have enough money for some reason.
True.
That being said, I mean, we have to get our best bang for the buck. And if we have to leave the hospital in Tumuning, and we're going to get the most out of the money, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, that's like us, Dave. We got a budget, and then, of course, we can borrow money, but we don't want to be in debt. And we're going to go buy a brand new car. We're not going to try to buy something we can't afford. Because somewhere along the line, we're not going to be able to pay our mortgage. We're not going to be able to eat. We're not going to be able to pay our power. And that's what we have to think about with this new hospital.
Well said. Well said, Frank.
We have to live within our means, and we have to think about the future, too, at the same time. And if our money's going to stretch further by building that hospital in Tumuning, I mean, it's a no-brainer. We should just stick with Tumuning. And who knows, later on, maybe fix up the hospital that we have now, expand it a bit for what we have now. There's a lot of people leaving the island. As people are coming, people are leaving. I don't think our population is growing. It's stagnant.
No, it's
to build a
decreasing.
humongous hospital, I don't think is going to do us any favors here, unless you can say that the military is going to fund it. I mean, if the military is going to fund it, by all means, build it over there. But if it's going to be laid on the back of the people of Guam, I say that, we try to stretch that money and have it into money. That way we can have more money to upgrade and do whatever we need to do over there. And all the infrastructure is already there. With the infrastructure being there, we're already saving maybe $100 million.
Over
$100 million.
Yes.
Over the Manila site.
Correct.
I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know who's actually advising or who, Another thing, Dave, is they have to be transparent, man. And they have to bring everybody into the picture here and because this is a big endeavor, and work together with the legislature and all the stakeholders and come to the table and be transparent. And that's the only way, Dave, that the people of Guam will get the best deal possible, Dave. And we won't have any waste. If it's transparent a process, and what the governor's trying to do.
I love what's coming out of your lips, and Frank, you're saying a lot of really, sensible stuff. We're not asking for much. We want transparency. Recently
and
that
we
was
want all
brought
the
up.
stakeholders at the table, right, Dave?
And
what
all
do you
the
think?
stakeholders. Yes, of course. Frank, the location in Tumuning, we've had every government agency that's involved, DPW, Public Health, all these guru, they all say, no, Tumuning's not the right place because of this or that. But I tend, Frank, to listen to the studies that were done, the Matrix and Pacific, and the health professionals that know the business of medical and how to conduct that. And I listen to them versus directors and agency heads. They're not the professionals. They work for the governor. They're going to say whatever they need to say, And heaven forbid they say something against the administration. I don't see for the life of me a sitting director, Frank, that's going to go out there and say on the radio or to the media or to the newspapers and say, no, I'm the director of so-and-so agency. I want the new hospital to be built in Tamuning. That goes directly against the vision of the governor. They'll be out of a job tomorrow, for sure.
Yes, Dave, of course. And then, the more transparency, Dave, the better deal we're going to get here. That way we can get all these vultures out of the picture here and moving this process forward. Because we got a lot of people in the winds here waiting to milk this new hospital, Dave. And you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
Everybody's lining up with their hands out right now. If this process is going to go through over there in Manila, with no transparency and the governor is the one that's going to be responsible for the building and all these things, man. But in order to be a good leader, you have to bring everybody together, and I don't really see that happening. We have to put our pride away at some point here, and especially at this point, Dave, because this has to do with the health of the island people here, Dave. We all have our stories about, horror stories about GMH, and how we feel that our loved ones got treated or how they didn't get treated, Dave. Everybody got a story here about that hospital and the lack of whatever that they felt at that point when their loved one passed, that they felt they were done wrong.
Yes.
I know everybody got a story here. Because even me, I got a couple of stories, but I'm not going to get into that. Like my mom said, leave it in God's hands.
True. Couldn't have said it better,
But
Frank.
this process got to be transparent, Dave, because this is for the whole island, and this is for future generations, Dave, that are going to be paying for this,
Yeah,
so
that's
I say
my concern.
transparent, we get the best deal. I mean, open the door, be transparent, and show that we got nothing to hide here.
That's the
Instead of
operative
going behind
word.
the people's back here,
Transparent. It's that seems to be a hard thing to do.
Yes, Dave, yes, and it's just sad, Dave, because, we got a lot of suffering going on. You got people that can't afford power, they can't afford water. There's a lot of households right now that they don't have no power or they don't have no water.
Yeah, and
because
as
they just can't afford it.
And as we speak, Frank, it didn't go away. Our people of Guam, many of us, are still struggling to make ends meet. We're living in one of the highest costs of living locations. And that's why you mentioned about the population of Guam. It's not increasing, and it won't. It's stagnant. Matter of fact, it's not even stagnant. It's decreasing.
Decreasing.
Yeah, a lot of our residents are leaving Guam for better pastures and for more bang for their buck, as you put it. And
man, Dave, right now, Dave, it's survival of the fittest right now, Dave. If you don't have the means and the will and the determination to put in the hard work to survive here, you ain't gonna survive.
Absolutely.
If you don't have somebody to give you a crutch here to survive, a brother, a mother, a sister, a cousin that will make you stay at their house because they can't afford to stay at their house got repossessed for whatever reasons, you ain't gonna survive here. Another thing, Dave, is we have to extend this thing to the people that are immigrating here. It's very hard to survive. These people have to let their people know that when they're coming here to Guam, it's not no walk in the park over here. Nothing against whatever, Dave, but if we the people that are indigenous people are having a hard time surviving here, what more people immigrating here? And that has to be known to these people coming here because, that's why the crime is high. It's people just having a hard time surviving. They got a lot of drugs on the streets, and the cost of living is going up. And it's just getting harder and harder to live in it, to live in Guam.
Very true, Frank. Again, I really appreciate your call. You hit you hit it on the nail in almost every category. We're living in tough times. The thing that I'm looking forward to, and I have high hopes for them, and what I'm talking about, Frank, we do have a change in the leadership at the Guam legislature. The 38 Guam legislature, we got the Republicans are the majority now. And I have high hopes that they will work hand in hand with the minority, the Democrats that are remaining, and hopefully we have better days ahead of us.
That being said, I'm all for working together, but if we ain't gonna get the best bang for the buck, they should oppose every bit of idiocy or any instance of us getting the lower end of the stick, or no transparency, no accountability. We have to set this course straight again, because to me it's already adolescent what's going on, with this new hospital and all the actions we're seeing here, and what's going on, with the decision making. I mean, we need to put our pride away and look to the bigger picture and what's best for the people of Guam, what's best for our wallet here, and what we can afford, because we cannot afford a multi-billion-dollar hospital. Dave, look at the DOC, what's happening there. Everywhere's failing, Dave. The schools, man. Every time we look around, we had a lot of money, surplus and all that, and then it's like we're short of money. It just doesn't make any sense right now.
Absolutely. Frank, in life is, we have ups and downs. I've had ups and downs. I'm sure you and the listeners out there listening to me right now, you probably had some ups and downs in life. There are times that you're down and you're struggling, and then there's times, things can change. Things can come back up, and you'll be okay. But we just got to live through it, struggle through it, and most of the time we do. So just have faith.
Yeah, Dave, the only way people are surviving right now, Dave, is on multiple incomes, Dave, and the families are pulling together.
True.
And helping each other out. Because right now this government is in no position to help the people right now. Even them are trying to get help, Mm-hmm. Maybe they need another raise. I don't know.
I don't think
I don't know.
It.
I really don't know right now. Even with the raises, we should have been more prudent. Yeah, they deserve a raise, but we should have, make it incremental, until we see that tourism went back up. But we just went for the gusto here,
Yeah,
and that might just backfire. It looks like it's going to backfire.
Yeah, you brought back memories. I remember when the 22% pay raise was implemented. I said, why do we have to give it all at one shot? Why can't we give 10 now and 10 the next year, or break it up into increments, as you put it.
And then that being said, Dave, we give 10, and then the economy's still not doing good. We're going to hold back on the other 10 because we don't know what the future holds, huh?
Yes, absolutely. Again, Frank, I really appreciate your call. You pretty much hit everything on the nail, and you didn't hold back. You pretty much tell it like it is. Tell it like it is, my friend.
Oh, hopefully, Dave, this coming New Year, our leaders make, some New Year's resolutions to serve the people of Guam and not themselves. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Frank.
All right.
Thank you. There you go. Couldn't have said it any better. For those out there, hi. It's almost time to call it a day here. Dice, thank you for...
Thank you, Dave.
Sharing the mic with me.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
I always have fun doing this. I have a lot of things to say. I'm entitled. I get, believe me, I get, as they put it in Chamorro, I get called blood by certain people that.
I got you, sir.
Dave, you like to be on the safe side. You always say you respect people's opinion. I do, 100%.
Got to.
It doesn't mean when I say something, it's my opinion. I'm talking about it's coming from Dave, and I have a certain way of looking at things, and it might be different from yours. If it's the same as you have the same opinion as I do, great. If you don't worry about it. You have your right to have your opinion, and I respect that 100%. So, the criticisms that I gave you, that you like to be on the safe side. You never take a stand on it. I said, I do. And why do you think you're criticizing me? Sizing me because I took a stand on an issue, and that's my opinion on it. Then I get clubla, but that's okay. Comes with the territory. Kira, what time is it?
We do have a power outage, sir.
Okay.
We're looking at Chalampago as well as Doña, and that was at 9:30 this morning. It will be for 8 hours until 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, okay. That tells me they're working on something.
Yeah, so that'll be like around Tendon Inda on that side there. So it'll be about 8 hours today.
Chalampago, 8 hours? Wow, I feel for you. Then again, I feel for Chalampago, 8 hours. My goodness, long time. But at least, knock on wood, cross my fingers, it doesn't mean load shedding. Yeah.
Let me knock on wood for you.
Have we been experiencing load shedding? Yes. Yes, we have. And sad, but, those days are still with us. But hopefully we got brighter days ahead with the soon-to-be Okadu power. Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon.
Exciting.
And we can look forward to hopefully no more load shedding and lower power bills.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We're at the top of the hour. I'm Dave Duenas sitting in for Patty. Thank you for tuning in. Until I'm on the radio again, we'll see you later. Happy holidays.
Hey,
Adios.
thank you, sir. Happy holidays, Mr. Duenas. I'm Dice. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be Guam.